And I won't even get into Nitro.
Well, we have to.
I mean, we will next.
We're going to. Whether you want to or not.
You know what's funny about this show is I felt about this show the way you felt about the other show. Like, the first few segments, I thought, this is a good show. And boy, did it nosedive off the cliff. Turned into a wretched program. Sickened me to the core.
I don't know where they got a lot of these guys in the pairings of match.
Oh, my God. So you were on my Twitter. Whoever the fucker was that put the matches together for this Nitro, I hope he never worked in this business again. When you look at the matchups on the show, let me remind you all, okay? I don't remember the exact number, but they had more than 300 people under contract. Do you know how many people 300 people is?
One more than 299.
I'm trying to think how to explain how many people 300 people is. Okay, imagine a car, okay?
Oh, here we go.
Let's say that you can get 5 people in a car.
It's going to be a long night.
All right? You got 5 people in a car, okay?
Sure.
All right? Now imagine you've got...
Who's driving?
20 cars full of people, okay?
Right.
So imagine that in your head.
Okay, that's 100.
Okay.
120.
Now imagine
I'm doing
you
Ryan
have
math.
that many people times 3. Okay? Right?
Sure.
That's a lot of fucking people. Okay?
Sure.
And every one of them...
What were you saying about how he can count?
Every one of them gets out of the car.
Sure.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
That's a big-ass crowd of people.
Sure.
You have free reign to match any 2 of those people up
Uh-huh.
and have matches.
Right.
Okay?
And you can have a demolition derby, too.
A lot of options.
Lots of cars.
Well, let's go through this show and let's talk about some of the options. Some of the pairings that they made out of all of these people.
How
of
about-
which there were an abundance of people.
How about it's one of the largest crowds you've wrestled in front of?
Get out of here. Oh, yeah, you weren't around during the Temple Theater heyday.
Oh, sure I was.
Nah, I don't buy it. Let's talk about this show.
Nitro number 156, September 7th, 1998. Cameras stormed into the NWO's locker room where Warrior had tagged the wall. Hogan was screaming, "He's invisible!" They were storming through the backstage area when Vincent runs up to them and says, "Someone has been laid out and taken away in an ambulance." Mm-hmm. Hogan says, "Who was it?" Vincent says, "I don't know."
You don't know? You idiot?
Then Hogan says, "I know who it was." I was already so confused.
No. Hogan wants to know who got beat up. Mm-hmm. No one knows who that is, apparently.
Right.
But Hogan knows who beat him up.
Ah.
The Warrior.
I see.
Yes.
They stomped down to the ring. They called out Warrior. Then Hogan revealed he didn't know who had been beat up when he said Warrior had taken out Scott Norton and Bryan Adams.
Wow, 2 guys now.
And he knew it had been from behind.
Good for Warrior. Got rid of Bryan Adams. I love how they go down there and they're looking all over for the Warrior, including underneath the ring. Mm-hmm. Didn't look very well.
He added that Bret Hart was off the War Games team. The Giant was taking his place. He promised there was no way Warrior was going to get through Disciple and the Giant to get to him.
What did Bret Hart have to do with any of this?
Bret Hart was on his team, and him and Hogan had a brawl last week.
Okay.
Where were you?
Not Cannon Beach.
That's true.
Well, that's on you then.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, what's our first match here? Imagine 300 people. Maybe as many as 380. And our first matchup.
Now, I'll say this for you, Brian.
Hold on. 380, and they had to bring in enhancement talent.
Yeah. I could have listed 3,000 names. I never would have guessed Conan's opponent in this opener.
Well, you know, I bet Bull Payne was making 6 figures.
Conan wrestled Bull Payne in the Nitro opener.
Yep. Bull Payne versus Conan was the opener on this unopposed Nitro.
The first time I ever watched an ECW tape, Bull Payne was in the opening match.
I hope you got rid of that tape.
Did you watch more ECW after that?
Absolutely.
Conan, in all seriousness, got blown up during his pre-match promo. So I figured, okay, Conan's a star. Bullpen is as unknown as you can be and have a match on Nitro. Conan's going to beat this guy in 30 seconds. Wrong! They had a back-and-forth match. Bullpen hit a top rope splash for a near fall.
Yes.
What the hell is going on?
They had a competitive match.
Why?
I don't know, but you know what? It was a decent match.
Sure.
Conan won. Fans were super into Conan. And up to this point, I thought this was a good show.
Conan eventually won with the same combo he always wins with: leapfrog, spin kick, X Factor, tequila sunrise.
Yep.
I asked Brutal Bob, if Bullpen still works, and he said yes.
I'm sure he does.
Connecticut.
I'm sure he does.
Good for him.
Yep.
Probably has a lot of fun doing it.
I betcha.
Now we had 3 straight interview segments.
And a recap.
Not
Does that count?
like an interview and then a match and then an interview and a match. We had Gene Okerlund 3 straight times with 3 different guys.
So first there was a recap of the Bret Hart Hulk Hogan drama from last week. Me and Gene interviewed J.J. Dillon. He said he had been there when the contracts were signed. Hogan and Bischoff did not have the authority to make a replacement in War Games, thus the Giant was not in the match. Bret Hart would be.
Wow. Laying down the law.
Go to commercial, they come back. Me and Gene brings out DDP for a promo. Gene asked Paige, "Are you going to join the Wolfpack?" And everyone cheered because the Wolfpack is cool and WCW sucks.
This was so bizarre because DDP was supposed to be a top babyface, but the storyline is he's not going to join the Wolfpack because he doesn't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
So he turned himself heel.
I don't know if he meant to, but that's what
He
happened.
didn't mean to. That's the point.
Yeah.
Like the way this was booked, like he ended up turning himself heel.
Yes.
By turning down the Wolfpack and
Yes.
talking about how he didn't trust Kevin Nash.
Yes. So Nash comes out. He said the Wolfpack was the elitist. Like elite, eliter, elitist.
Yeah, the elitist.
Yeah. He warned Paige that if they were not friends in War Games, they'd be enemies. Paige repeated he did not trust Nash. Out came Luger and Sting. Lex repeats the invitation to Paige, but he does it in the most insulting manner possible. You could try to recruit someone. So Paige turns him down. He adds, you guys know Kevin Nash would powerbomb either one of you in a heartbeat. So now it's Sting's turn to try. Sting's rebuttal to Paige's accusation is, Kevin Nash has already powerbombed me once. Maybe twice. So there's no problem there. What?
Well, they've been through it. Vinny, let's talk about the real problem here.
There's many.
You mentioned the line about how Nash would powerbomb either of them. What you are not missing is, this is what DDP said. He says, you know what War Games is all about. Nash would powerbomb either of you in a heartbeat. I realize that's what War Games is about this year, but that's not what War Games had ever been about, ever. This War Games is like 3 teams facing off against each other, but it's every man for himself. Why is it even War Games?
I don't know.
It's so stupid.
Wait a minute. It's every man for himself, but there's teams?
because whoever gets the win gets a championship match. So you're not working together as a team. You're only out for yourself to get a championship match.
Yeah. I see. I scoffed at that line because there wouldn't be... I understand now.
They fucked the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw tradition. Let's go with something new in War Games.
So Sting finally says, if you want to fight Paige, we don't have to wait till War Games. You go find Roddy Piper to face any 2 of us Wolfpack dudes in a tag match tonight.
Can't I get somebody good?
Paige immediately accepts, but as they're leaving, Paige challenges Nash. Kevin Nash, the leader of the Wolfpack, make sure you make yourself a part of that match. Everyone keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Challenge him to his face to fight.
Well, what happened was, he was going to be in the match. But then they rewrote the show in the middle of the show.
Well, I'll tell you.
That's what happened.
You've just told us how the sausage is made.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you later what it tasted like.
Shit.
Yeah.
We all know that.
All right. So Piper comes out for a promo.
This was actually a good Roddy Piper promo.
What?
Because he made a very... He made a very good point.
He was the one who was on Craig's side.
Nash said, DDP, I need to know if you're in the Wolfpack. And DDP goes, I don't like when people tell me what to do. So then at the very end of his segment, DDP volunteered Roddy Piper for a match. And Roddy Piper came out and he said, you know what? You talked about not liking being told what to do, and the first thing you do is try to tell me what to do. But then he agrees to do it.
Says he will team with Paige for one night only. They'll be partners tonight. They'll be enemies at War Games. And Piper's the one, of all people, who has the coherent thought to say, am I the only one who points out there are no teams in this match?
That's right.
It's every man for himself.
He was very un-Piper today. He made a lot of sense.
And a Nitro Girls hype video, which is funny just because aren't the Nitro Girls segments hype videos unto themselves?
Who cares?
Yes, they're hype women.
I see.
Yeah.
Lenny Lane versus Wrath. Wrath squashed it for 2 minutes and won with a pump handle power slam.
Cool.
Thank you for not wasting a lot of time with this.
Back in the locker room, Hogan and company found Disciple hung upside down from the ceiling.
I loved this. Disciple is hung upside down by his legs.
Sure.
Like he's a bear that just got caught or something like that. The announcers, because he's upside down.
Worst analogies ever.
Now, have you ever seen when you catch a bear, you string him up by the legs?
Tell me more about bear
photos,
catching.
I've seen photos online of this because people Photoshop in Bigfoot. You don't believe me? You want me to find it? But anyway, point of this is that guy's hung upside down. Because he's upside down, the announcers can't figure out who it is.
Right.
Tenay, I mean, the announcers, first off, before Tenay, the announcers say it appears to be the Disciple. We think.
Sure.
We're not sure. He's fucking upside down.
I missed that quote.
They think it must have been the Warrior. Because you see, the Warrior symbol is painted all over the goddamn wall. Mm-hmm. And the guy's been strung up.
Some great investigational.
No, Craig.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mike Tenay then notes, despite the graffiti and everything else, mm-hmm. we have no proof that it was the Warrior.
He's on to something.
He is a man of facts. He was playing Dave.
Perhaps Warrior has been framed.
He could have been framed. Mike Tenay knew we did not have factual proof that Warrior did this. And he wanted the announcers to temper their commentary. It's very important.
Bret Hart comes down to the ring. I don't know why. I don't know what his plans were. But he comes out. Then the NWO music plays. And Kurt Hennig, Stevie Ray, and Vincent come out. And then before anything can happen with any of these men, Sting runs down with his baseball bat. Everyone except Bret clears the ring. Bret goes to high-five him. Sting pushes him away with the bat, hands the bat to Bret, turns his back. Bret won't hit him. Sting walks away. So it's what Sting did for that year and a half he was on the sidelines where he was testing who he could trust.
Yeah. Yep.
And Bret passed the test.
Oh, goody.
Now, the funniest thing was, and maybe it's just me, Sting, when he was doing this before, when he was Crow Sting, when mute, he was always very solemn, and he took this all very seriously. Wolfpack Sting is much more laid back.
Yep.
So he hands Bret the bat and turns around and slightly raises his shoulders. There's no attack, so he just shrugs and moseys on off. It's much more of a joke to Sting now.
Gee, I wonder why. He learned his lesson about taking shit seriously.
I guess so. A Rick Steiner promo package.
This was awesome. This was the best interview Rick Steiner's ever done in his whole entire life.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was.
Mainly because they had Rick do an interview talking into the camera, making all his points. He probably did about 20 takes.
Oh, I don't know. He may have only needed one.
And I suspect he did a lot, and they took the best of it and edited it all together with clips of his brother. So Rick's points were Scott had changed on the inside, and for what Scott had done to their parents, Rick was going to beat his ass.
Scott has changed on the outside, too, by the way.
That's true. He hoped Scott and Buff were having fun making fun of him, but someday the NWO would kick Scott out, and Rick would not be there when he came crying. As a team, they'd won every belt in the world. Scott had thrown it all away. He loved watching all of Scott's awesome finishes for years, but now Scott was going to have to prove he was the better Steiner brother.
This blew my mind. This guy spent his whole career being like a numbskull. If I'd only known, if I'd been in charge and I knew what a good promo this guy could cut, I mean, that would have been the end of the dog-faced gremlin. He'd have just been Rick Badass Steiner kicking everybody's ass like his brother. He was just as scary as his brother. He just never showed that side. Just went out there and barked.
Evan Courageous versus Scott Steiner. Buff came out to do commentary.
You know, the highlight of this was at the very beginning when Scott cut a promo on him over the house mic as he was beating his ass. He should have done that, like, in every match. Should have had a wireless mic and just destroyed jobbers with a mic in one hand, throwing them around with the other hand, and just killing them.
I wish Scott would have ran in last week on Evan Courageous when he wrestled Hoovy.
Yeah. He squashed him and won with the camel clutch. Nitro Party clips. A bunch of children at the YMCA still had graphics. Hector Garza versus Juventud Guerrera.
So Hector Garza had been gone for a long time because he had knee surgery, and he was supposed to be out until November, but he started working shows in Mexico. And it was 1997, and there was now an internet, and he got caught.
See.
So they said, get your ass back to work, dude. So here he was, wrestling Hoovy.
So things are going along fine for a while.
Kinda.
You could see Hector was a little hesitant at times on his bad knee, and you can also see he was not yet in prime ring shape, but everything was more or less going okay. Then Hector grabs him for a pedigree and just stands there and then lets go. I think it was actually supposed to be a submission hold. I'm not sure. Then Hector tries to drop kick as Hoovy's walking away, so Hector just changes direction in midair and just kicks the hell out of him. Hoovy tries a top rope Rana. Hector tries to catch him. They both fall down. Hector power bombs him as hard as he can. Finally, he misses a Kibarata, and Hoovy hits the Michinoku driver for the win. It was very, very sloppy, but it was by far the best action the fans have seen all night, and they popped big for the finish.
Yeah, they got into it there at the end, so good job, guys.
Me and Gene interviewed Rick Rude and Kurt Hennig.
Rick Rude's got his mustache back.
Thank God.
He's kind of grown it a little bit down the sides, kind of like the beginning of a Hulk Hogan sort of mustache.
It'd be way cooler.
Just looks fucking awesome. So they're burying Art Anderson, and they're setting up Kurt Hennig versus Dean Malenko in a cage match.
A cage match.
Right.
Like, they said it here, but I didn't realize it until the match started. That's actually what was happening.
And so Kurt Hennig says, after I finish off Dean tonight, the entire world will know he's nothing more than a horse's ass. Rick Rude about it, Mean Gene. Nobody can pull off this fucking line. Nobody. But if anybody could come close, it is the combo of Kurt Hennig and Rick Rude. I love these dudes. They're the best.
Now, why the cage match? Did I miss a bunch of TV?
Fuck no, they're just doing it.
Apparently there's a bunch of matches on Thunder where NWO guys had run in.
Hey, they're adding Thunder to the network.
Matches.
No.
Yeah, they are.
No, we are not watching.
They're adding Thunder.
Absolutely not. I'm putting my foot down.
Craig, within 6 months, you are going to be begging to switch to Thunder. Trust me. Because it's only 2 hours.
Oh, wait a minute. Now
exactly.
I retract everything I just said.
Now, see, one of these days we're going to go back and we'll review Heat and Thunder.
Jeez.
19 years ago on Heat and Thunder. Can you imagine?
Might as well get Saturday night's main event in there, too. Maybe.
No, I would enjoy that one.
That's true.
Most of that.
You mean Shotgun Saturday night?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Main event. Superstars.
Oh, let's talk about another great match that they actually put on television.
Yes.
Ernest Miller versus Chaos.
No. Kenny Chaos. He's a singles wrestler.
Kenny Chaos.
The Cat versus Chaos.
Kenny.
Which actually I see in my house every day.
Well, actually, as I used to refer to him in the newsletter, the Shat.
Mm-hmm.
This fucking guy. So the announcers say, I swear to God they said this. And it's probably true. Ernest Miller has decided that he doesn't want to be a wrestler.
Right.
He wants to work to his strengths, which is martial arts. He's so much worse working to his strengths. When he first started and he was trying to be a professional wrestler that did a couple of kicks and such, he was 1,000 times better than he is after 2 years of experience. It's mind-blowing. This fucking guy sucks. And he gets worse every single week. This match sucked. Fans chanted boring.
Brian's choked up.
I nearly died.
He just struck ill.
I've been struck dead by this fucking match. It goes on for an hour, right?
A long time.
It was a while.
Announcers are bored to tears. They're busy talking about the Warrior. And then Ernest Miller wins and challenges anybody, and nobody accepts.
Right.
Has there ever been worse television?
Do any of you have any idea what submission hold Kenny Chaos attempted to put on in the middle of this match?
He
did a horrible springboard clothesline, and then he had Kat sitting down on the match, and it was behind him, and kind of grabbed an arm.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this thinking, every part of Kat's body looks like it is comfortable right now. Nothing there looks painful at all.
The funny thing about that is, Larry Zbyszko, who won't let anything go, is talking about how, he doesn't have it on quite right.
I'll say.
And he has to bury everything. If it was an actual hold,
Good
Larry
for him.
would bury it.
These numbskulls deserved it.
Now, you know that the Shat, as Brian says, eventually morphs into a James Brown.
Yes.
Oh, I'm well aware. It's the one great thing he did in his career. When they actually... we'll get to it. What the fuck?
Okay.
Every week on... This is... I swear to God, this is true.
Okay.
Every week on television, fucking Ernest Miller comes out, and he acts like James Brown, the fucking godfather of soul, is going to show up on Nitro. He goes on week after week after week after week. Everybody just figures, they're just doing whatever. James Brown is never going to show up on this goddamn show. Well, you know what? He did. Unannounced and unadvertised on a pay-per-view.
That's right.
Can you imagine?
We were watching that at you still live in your parents' apartment in Bothell, and we're sitting on the couch, which is probably smaller than this couch here.
Yep.
And James Brown comes out on television.
We fell
Our
off the...
jaws fell open.
Oh, my
We stared
God.
at each other. What is happening? James Brown, the biggest star on this show, just made a cameo appearance.
Unannounced, unadvertised cameo appearance.
Well, back here on Nitro.
Oh, my God. It was so bad.
Chris Adams versus Stevie Ray. Very few men...
Oh, can we talk about the finish, by the way, of that last match really quickly?
I thought we did.
Yeah, we
No.
did.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it was kick, but Chaos is on the outside. And here's the spot. You go for a springboard. I'll move. You just land on your feet, and I'll kick you.
That's how it went. I'm sorry, dude. It was a terrible match. What do you want me to do?
Dude.
It was dirt awful.
Horrible.
There's very few men in this world who can pull off the shiny, all-white bodysuit, and Stevie Ray is not on the list.
Stevie Ray versus Gentleman Chris Adams. It's terrible.
Stevie Ray is like a negative of the rest of the NWO crew.
Basically.
Yeah. Because they all wear black with white trim.
Right.
So Stevie Ray comes out in all white with black trim.
That's right. So, he squashed Adams in a boring manner. Adams made a comeback. Vincent distracted him. I did laugh. Stevie then hit a super kick and a pedigree for the win. He ripped off Shawn Michaels and Triple H's finishers.
Well, he's been using the quote-unquote slapjack
Yes.
for a while.
I wrote awful television.
Had another Nitro Girls video.
Oh, God.
That was the first time, I believe, each woman was... I mean, the announcers have said their names before, but if you weren't, taking notes at home... I was taking notes. I still couldn't keep track of who was who. So the first time they put up each woman with her name on a graphic, confirming that Spice was the hottest.
Whisper.
Yes, he did. Saturn... Okay. The only good thing about this next segment was Raven wearing a Savatage t-shirt. Raven and a bunch of his lackeys come out. And I've lost all trace, all track, all concept of which of these guys like each other and which of these guys don't. So I start writing down what I think the match is 3 or 4 times, and they're all wrong. Is it a tag match? Is it a 3-way? I have no idea what's going on. Then Raven announces a match, but then changes it. It becomes Saturn versus Riggs. To make a long story short, that's the match. So Saturn's wrestling Riggs. Whoever is losing, Raven is berating them on the mic. This kills any and all heat the match might have had. Saturn eventually wins with a DVD. Raven is not satisfied. Because Saturn gave his word he would do whatever Lodi said, thus effectively whatever Raven said. So Raven says, Saturn, you must break this man's fingers or break your word. Saturn doesn't know what to do, so Raven gives me a third option. You can break your word, you can break this man's fingers, or let me break yours. So Saturn lets him break his fingers. Raven goes all Marty Skrull on him, and now Saturn has broken fingers going into his match with Raven at Fall Brawl in 6 days.
So the story here is that Saturn lost a match. He's got to do whatever load he wants. He's a military man. He's a man of honor, and so he's going to abide by his word. And Raven's a dick, and Raven's taking advantage of that. Raven's broken his fingers right before they have a match. The thing is, this has the potential to turn into like a really good storyline and angle. But it's Nitro. I have absolutely no faith in them doing that. And so I watched this whole thing and I did not give a shit. That's sad. The show's ruined me.
It's terrible, too, because they gave Lodi a little bit of power, and he's gone mad, drunk with power. Raven tells him what to do, then he tells Saturn what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Could be good, but
it's
the show sucks. And then...
Speaking of things that suck.
Oh, my God. Okay,
this is actually the match I was thinking of earlier.
Was this like a stupid play off Montreal, or was Jim Neidhart just the worst wrestler in the history of the universe?
I'll take
the latter.
B for 100.
Now, I will... Until the finish, this exceeded my very, very low expectations.
Yeah, Chris Jericho, until the finish, got a decent match out of Jim Neidhart, which I thought was impossible.
Then it was time to end things. Now, a lot happened here, so bear with me.
Actually, it was just one thing that went on for 9 hours and got fucked up the whole time.
Jericho goes to the Boston Crab, but Jim Neidhart is not flexible enough to roll over onto his belly. He tried, and he tried, and he tried, and he tried. Finally, he gave up and rolled back over to his back. So now Jericho's still got his feet. Neidhart's on his back. At this point, the ref calls for the bell. But no bell rings.
Yeah, where was the bell ringer in this?
So they keep going. Jericho tries to get the Boston Crab again. Neidhart sort of gets over onto his belly, but at the same time is reaching for the ropes. The ref calls for the bell. Jericho releases the hold, walks around the ring. The ref raises Jericho's hand. Then the bell rings. What a disaster.
And then Neidhart just jumps to his feet like he's totally fine.
Well, he never got put in the hold.
I guess.
Well, he kind of did.
I don't know.
The announcers had no idea what's going on.
No one did.
Jericho's mad. Neidhart acts furious. It was just the biggest mess. It's terrible. And did we mention terrible Eddie Guerrero's promo?
Poor Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie comes out in a Pencil Busters t-shirt.
Before you get going, Vinny, I believe it was last week, might have been a couple of weeks ago, might have been on every show over the last 2 months. We talked about how the Cahoots storyline may be the worst storyline in wrestling history. You're wrong. This fucking storyline with Eddie Guerrero and Eric Bischoff is so much worse than Cahoots, it's not even funny.
For the record, so is Raven Saturn Canyon, also worse than Cahoots. Eddie's got a Pencil Busters t-shirt on. And then he turns his back. On the back it says, "Fire me, free me, please," I believe. Said he had suffered a back injury against Bryan Adams last week. Per his contract, Eric Bischoff is responsible for his care.
He should have said, "I got a back injury carrying Bryan Adams last week," since they're being inside.
I should have just winked at the camera.
Yeah.
He had a lot of inside references about wanting to go wrestle somewhere else. I didn't write any of them down. He just said he was going to do them both a favor and take the night off. This angle sucks, I wrote.
It's terrible. It's one of the worst angles I've ever seen.
Curt Hennig versus Dean Malenko in a cage match.
The end of this match was worth the wait, but...
Let me tell you something. All right? I was watching this match, and it's Curt Hennig hitting 700,000 moves in a row. None of them are terribly exciting. I'm fighting to stay awake. I'm fighting. Thank God my wife arrived home in the middle of this match and gave me an excuse to hit pause and go talk to her for 20 or 30 minutes. I was so excited to have a break. Then I came back, had to finish the rest of this match, and I felt like I had started over. They just kept going.
Ask you a question. At one point in this match, Curt Hennig grabs the beam above the cage.
The cage had a roof.
And lifts himself up.
Yeah.
Back exposed to Dean Malenko. And time passed. Dean reaches up and pulls him down to the mat. Hard.
Slammed him down.
What was his...
Kurt's plan was Dean will grab me and slam me to the mat.
I'm sure they had some sort of idea. I don't know. All I know is it's inconceivable that Kurt Hennig and Dean Malenko could have a match this boring. But they did it. Because it's Nitro. Fans chanted boring. Like, they chanted boring during a Dean Malenko-Kurt Hennig match.
Well, they were right.
In a cage!
And again, I ask, why the cage match?
Well, speaking of why a cage match,
Well, let's
Greg,
just get going here.
Let's get to the
Ref
finisher.
took a bump. Bischoff runs down, unlocks the cage. Stevie and Rick Rude hit the ring. They attack Malenko. Now listen to me. This would have been stupid on any day, but 6 days before War Games, you decide to kill the integrity of a cage just like this on Nitro.
This
I mean,
ca-
could you be any more fucking stupid?
So this cage, a steel cage match
With a roof.
with a roof. Tony noted this cage is primarily a weapon. Its secondary purpose is to stop interference.
That's wrong.
Cage match ended in a DQ due to outside interference. Number 1. I forgot what number 2 was. And all this terrible wrestling. Oh, if you're just going to do a DQ finish anyway, why bump the ref?
Why the cage?
Why the cage? Why did any of this happen? Now, there's an answer to that at the very end, but there had to be a better idea to get from point A to point B. Point B was fine, but my God, point A. So the NWO is running wild on Malenko. They started dragging him to the door. They were going to slam his head in the door, much like they did to Ric Flair last year when Hennig turned on the Horsemen and blew them up. As someone comes down to make the save, and that someone is Arn goddamn Anderson. Arn runs wild. He destroys...
Is that his Christian name?
Yes, actually. Okay. The Lord bestowed upon him his profane name. Arn destroys everyone at ringside. He gets to the ring where there's Stevie Ray. He takes off his jacket. The place is like jumping up and down in a frenzy. Arn beats Stevie Ray's ass, kicks him out of the cage. Crowd is chanting for the Horsemen as Dean and Arn are now back to back and then eye to eye, and they've come to an agreement here. This angle was awesome.
It was unbelievably great.
I sure wish they did not have a 7-hour match leading up to the angle.
Well, you know, it's a 3-hour show.
It's a 3-hour show, which I don't know if we've mentioned this yet. It's the go-home show for Fall Brawl.
Mm-hmm.
A show which has War Games and, as far as I know, nothing else, including nothing for the World Heavyweight Champion, Bill Goldberg. In fact,
Let's find out.
the only thing they had for Goldberg to do on this show was beat Scott Putski.
Yeah, but you know what? This was another unbelievably great squash match.
It sure was.
They go in there, and Scott Putski actually slips behind on a move.
Actually, it's what they planned. Goldberg went for like a slam, and
Yeah.
But you see this in every match. A guy goes for a slam, and the opponent slips over, lands on his feet behind him, and does a kick, whatever.
Goldberg gave him a backdrop, basically.
This came off like it was not the plan, but Goldberg threw him so high that he lost control of him, and Scott was fortunate to land on his feet and hit this move.
That's what happened.
It was awesome.
Scott Putzi grabs him. He hits a suplex. Goldberg responds by not selling it, leaping to his feet, spearing and jackhammering this guy. It was so awesome.
It was.
Best thing on the show.
Yes, it was. It was.
A delight.
I'm watching this. Everyone's on their feet. Everyone's going crazy. And I thought, this guy is unfuck-upable.
Oh.
Okay, so here's a quick update here.
Okay.
There were 9 matches at Fall Brawl.
Yikes.
British Bulldog and Jim Neidhart versus the Dancing Dildo.
Ah. God.
Jericho defeated a Goldberg impersonator. Ernest Miller beat Norman Smiley.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner go to
that.
a no contest.
Okay, that's another match we did plugged.
Hoovy beat Silver King. Saturn beat Raven.
Yeah.
Malenko beat Hennig via DQ.
Oh, God.
Conan beat Scott Hall. What?
Huh?
And then the Team WCW versus Team NWO match, which we got to watch next week, by the way.
Yay.
Yeah, Fall Brawl, everybody.
The last note on Goldberg before we move on. When I say he was unfuck-upable, he's celebrating afterwards. He's going crazy. He starts to shake the ropes like the Ultimate Warrior. He loses his grip on the ropes and starts to fall back on his ass. but he's Goldberg. He just rolls through backwards up to his feet like he meant to do it all the whole time. It was awesome.
He's great. He's the best.
He is the best wrestler of all time.
It sucks because there's like 5 minutes of the show that I look forward to every week.
As Goldberg?
And it's 3 hours.
Yeah.
I got to talk about this next match. I don't know if anyone noticed it but me, but it's DDP and Roddy Piper versus Luger and Sting.
Excuse me. Luger and Sting.
Yeah.
So Kevin Nash, the leader of the Wolfpack, backed out of a challenge.
Yeah.
That's right.
He backed out of a fair fight. Just making sure.
They changed their mind. So, in this match, Sting is running wild on Page. Gets a hot tag. And they botch a spot, and it breaks down into just the clumsiest, ugliest four-way brawl you've ever seen. So in the middle of this brawl, there's 4 guys in the ring. And Piper and Luger are brawling in the middle of the ring. And Sting and DDP are over kind of a little bit by the corner. And I don't know what happened, but they run at each other. They do just the ugliest double clothesline of all time. Sting lands and is furious. And he's screaming, something motherfucker.
Shit, I heard loudly.
He's so mad. So then out comes Nash. And Nash runs down to the ring. He takes out Roddy Piper. DDP and Sting are still brawling. Sting is against the ropes, and DDP is trying to clothesline him out of the ring.
I noticed this one. I didn't notice the first one.
Yeah, this is the other one.
I'll go back.
Yeah, so Sting does something. He goes over the top, and he starts screaming, shit, do something about that motherfucker. I don't know what happened, but Sting was so mad. And then Nash kills DDP with a power bomb and just leaves him laying. I don't know what happened during this match. I've got to find out. Sting was so angry. I don't know if he was angry at DDP. I presume he was, because every time he was swearing, it was with a DDP spot. But man, this was just a disaster on live television.
Well, I'm going to go back and watch that. I noticed the second blow-up at Page.
Dude, watch the first one. When they do the double clothesline, that's the first time that Sting freaks out.
Because I assumed that maybe Nash missed a cue, and that's why Sting was mad.
No.
Okay.
It was something that happened before that.
I'll have to go back and check. Now, I'm very curious about this now. So let's talk more about Nash. After refusing to answer Page's challenge like a bitch, Nash lets these guys fight, comes out, attacks Roddy Piper from behind. Throws him into the post. I thought the Wolfpack was like the anti-heroes, or maybe just the cool kids. They were not WCW, but they were clearly getting the biggest baby faces in the show. And they are clearly they had not been breaking rules in a long time, at least not like this. Nash backs out of a fight, jumps Piper from behind, jumps Page from behind, leaves them all laying. All I can think was, who would cheer this guy? I know he wants to be cheered, but who would cheer him right now?
Well, when you think about it, a pack of wolves, when they see a bunch of deer, they pick out the sick and the elderly. So
Piper and Page.
Right.
Okay.
Dude, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that was the match.
That was the main event.
Then I realized there's 8 minutes of TV time left.
Oh, yeah, we got a big angle.
This show at this point just kept going. It wouldn't stop.
The NWO music plays. Nothing happens for a while. Finally, Hogan and Giant appear. Hogan dares Warrior to come out. He calls for the cage to be lowered. Hogan has a deal, he says. We've looked around. We know Warrior's not under this ring. We've got the cage down here. The door is wide open. Warrior, come on down. You fight the Giant. Now, you'll never beat the Giant, but if you do, you'll prove you're worthy of a match against me. At this point, the ring begins to fill with smoke. When the smoke clears, much like Seattle.
I was going to say it's like Seattle. But you know what's weird about this noxious smoke?
The Ultimate Warrior appears out of it?
Well,
it doesn't affect Hogan.
Warrior magically appears. It does not affect him.
Or Hogan.
It does not affect Hogan, but it puts the Giant to sleep.
Right.
Well, I assume we're supposed to believe that somewhere in the smoke, Warrior hit Giant with a chair.
Maybe, but I mean, he was just nonchalantly sitting in that chair.
Last week, it didn't affect Hogan either, and there was a bunch of bodies laying in there.
Yeah.
It's
magic smoke.
I honestly believe we're supposed to believe the Ultimate Warrior is in fact the Flash, and is moving at the speed of light, killing men when the smoke.
I think it's magic noxious smoke.
I can't prove you're wrong.
Now, what a great gag it would be if the smoke fills the ring, and the smoke finally dissipates, and all the NWO are standing there with gas masks.
Can I ask the big important question? When do we get Hogan and Warrior in the mirror? It's got to be like
Pretty soon.
October, Halloween Havoc is the match.
It may be next week.
We got like 6 weeks then.
Oh, man. 6 weeks of magic.
Uh-huh. So Hogan is in the cage with Warrior. Bischoff comes running out and does nothing. Hogan hits a chair shot. Warrior no-sells it. Hogan's plan...
Hold on. Hold on. Do not step over this Geek of the Week showing here. Warrior fills the ring with smoke. He magically appears in a chair. Hogan is scared. The Giant's dead. Warrior stands up with the chair. Hogan is begging off. Warrior's first big offensive maneuver in his comeback is he runs at Hogan with the chair. Hogan moves.
Yes.
He doesn't dodge.
Demonstrating his great speed and stealth.
He's reverse flash.
The Warrior swings the chair.
Red and yellow.
He hits the goddamn corner pad with it. And then Hogan swings his chair and waffles the Warrior.
That happened.
You could not be a bigger geek than the Warrior was here. Now, to his credit, Warrior didn't sell this chair shot and Hogan ran for his life. But my God, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
That's what happened. So Hogan
got his
runs...
revenge when they did that cage match and did the log roll spot, but still.
So Hogan locks the cage with Warrior inside. I don't know what he thought was going to happen. The ring fills with smoke. The smoke goes away. Warrior is gone. This magic show is the go-home segment for Fall Brawl.
Yeah. Crowd chanted Hogan sucked. And you want to know what else sucks? This fucking show sucks.
Yep.
That's it, everyone.
God, the Monday Night Wars. What happened? I gotta watch like that WWE documentary on the Monday Night Wars.
Oh,
no, you don't.
That's not
No, I
one-sided.
really got it.
I think
I need to see them spin it to how great this was.
I think I lasted 6 minutes before giving up in the first episode. Although in those 6 minutes, I did see Buddy Wayne. So there's that.
Really? Wow. I didn't know that.
And then, if you had tuned in the night before...
How many times have we watched this? I feel like I've watched it at least like 5 times.
Actually, I'm pretty sure this is the first time I ever saw this.
You've got to be kidding me. I could have sworn we reviewed it.
May have. I've been wrong before, but...
I know we reviewed the Hogan Warrior
that we've seen a
singles
couple
match
times,
we did,
yeah. So, Fall Brawl 98, the War Games main event, September 13th, 1998. Michael Buffer did his most bland, factual ring introductions of all time. Maybe because there was 9 guys, he didn't have time to write a mini bio for all of them.
He said, "We are about to witness an event like no other in the annals of professional wrestling." That was
true.
Absolutely fucking true. It was.
So the cage begins to lower. There's pyro and wacky disco music.
Dude.
Like, I expected everyone to get up and start dancing.
The thing about this music was they play this music and it never stops.
No.
And it just goes on and on and on and on. And like when they lower the cell, there's that dum 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 music, but then it's like over. Not at War Games. They played this music when it was time for everybody to come down to the ring. Why didn't they have their own themes? This music was so terrible.
Not to mention when the guys ran out, to get in the cage, the pop was so much less because the guys didn't come out to their own music.
Buffer explains, 3 teams of 3 men for a total of 9 men. It's like, goddamn, you're right.
He's got it.
Wow.
I can't argue.
You are correct with that addition.
My favorite line, actually he had 2.
Multiplication, I guess it would be.
He had 2 great lines, although one wasn't even his fault. Now, I was aware that they had destroyed the concept of War Games by making this every man for himself.
Yeah.
What I was not aware of was that this match could end at any time. They weren't even going to wait till all 9 men were in the ring. In theory, if Dallas Page had schoolboyed Bret Hart and pinned him in 30 seconds to win this match, it's over, it's done, the other 7 guys never even get their shot. They
It's funny you say that.
totally
because
butchered this.
He did say over and over that it can end at any time.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's true. Like, I thought that once everybody was in, he was telling us it could end at any time. But I'm like, that's how it always is.
Yeah.
How weird that it can end at any time. Now that you mention it.
Well, that was the thing back in the day when all the guys were in there.
They'd all be
War
in
games
first.
would change to
The match beyond.
Yes, the match beyond, because that's when the match starts. Before that, it's just the War Games. And it's not just a mistake on my part, because when Paige and Bret started to wrestle, the announcer said, these men have, and this is a quote, the definite advantage. Because they could win before the others even got there.
God damn, you're right.
This is like the stupidest match I ever saw.
Well, then he announces that whoever won would become the mandatory contender
I laughed.
for the WCW title.
I laughed and I laughed. And we actually watched this together, you and I. And then you pointed out they would have no choice. They would be forced to wrestle Goldberg.
You must face Goldberg.
And when you put it that way, it actually makes sense.
Yeah. You cannot win and then decide, you know what? I don't want to face Goldberg.
I will wait until somebody else beats Goldberg, then wrestle that person. No, you must wrestle Goldberg.
Now, granted, the next day they just gave Sting a title shot.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I guess, well, there's not much more to get to, but that's how it went down. So Paige and Bret started. And they get in the cage, and they lock this cage with a chain they had to have found at the bottom of a river somewhere. I hope everyone wrestling this match got many tetanus shots afterwards, and before. So they're doing stuff and doing pin attempts and teasing diamond cutters, and no one believes that War Games is going to end in the first 2 minutes.
I sure shit didn't, because I didn't even get it.
Nothing happened for a while. Stevie Ray was the third man in. Stevie and Bret double-teamed Paige a bit. And in the middle of this double teaming, Paige has a big double clothesline, and everyone pops, and then Stevie just stands right back up. Because he's an idiot. Sting is fourth. Huge pop for his entrance.
Does his big dive from one ring to the other and lands on his head.
He tried to dive from ring to ring, which he had done many times before in prior War Games, and he barely cleared the ropes and got his feet caught on them and came straight down on his head and shoulder. Bret and Paige were down selling forever. They got up, clotheslined each other, kept selling forever. They were.
It's a great plan, actually.
They were not getting paid by the workload. They're getting paid just to be there. Sting splashed Stevie into the cage a few times, then he missed and hit the steel. Roddy Piper was fifth. He comes in and starts punching everyone, including his alleged partner, Dallas Page.
You know when we watched that first War Games and there were like 7 guys in there or whatever, 6, 5, however many, but they were all in one of the 2 rings?
Yes.
To make it look more chaotic. They actually did that gimmick here as well, but this did not need to look any more chaotic.
No.
You had Stevie Ray in there. Like, you did not need to consolidate everybody into one ring.
You did not have 2 teams, you had 5 individuals. They could have used more space. Stevie ended up between the rings with his head stuck between the aprons. At least that was the idea. And then they cut to a camera angle that made it clear he could get out at any time. Luger was 6th. He punches Stevie. Dudes are just milling around. And that's just like, at some point, we're going to see team members turn on each other. I thought 2 minutes ago, I watched Dallas Page and Roddy Piper stand in the middle of the ring punching each other in the face. Then Shivani said, no one's used the cage as a weapon. Sting did. Several times. Repeatedly. So these guys were as bored as everyone else were, not paying attention. Piper hooked a sleeper on Stevie Ray, which theoretically could have ended the match. Nobody cared. Nash was 7th. Got the biggest pop of the night. Also got Pyro. The first guy to get Pyro. Funny how that works. Now Shivani had changed his tune. Now the fresh man had the advantage. Hogan sneaks down to the cage.
I mean, he's kind of right at that point. Because, the other guys are now getting tired. And if you're fresh, you can come in and maybe pin one of these geeks.
All right. Which it should have been the story from the get-go, but of course you can win at any time.
You can win at any time.
So Hogan sneaks down into the cage, starts clubbing dudes with the weapon.
Stop right there.
He snuck.
When Hogan started sneaking down to the ring, at first when I watched it, I thought, why are you sneaking down to the ring? What is happening here? Now that I understand that the match can end at any time, now it makes sense to me why he was sneaking down to the ring. However, why didn't he sneak down to the ring earlier?
That's a good point.
I don't know.
He sneaks down with a slapjack.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, just wait. I mean, just wait. You will be so sick of this fucking slapjack within about a year's time. Every single show had this stupid slapjack. Beats up everybody.
Lex and Sting had hooked their finishers, but Hogan clubs them with a slapjack.
He beat up everybody.
They did. They turned on Bret, Hogan and Stevie did.
And then they just stand there.
Yes. So everyone was dead, I wrote, and Hogan and Stevie were walking around.
Yeah, they could have pinned anybody.
And then we find out, this is even better, because Hogan snuck in, when the clock counted down, that was for his spot.
Right.
So then they stood around for another 2 minutes.
Yes. Just bebopping. So finally they leg drop Nash a few times, and Hogan makes a cover, but the ring fills with smoke. And when the smoke clears, Warrior is in there. Hogan lays him out. But then
Stop right there. Can you be more nonchalant about this? The ring fills... I got to go over this, okay? The ring... There's 2 rings, okay?
Yes.
The rings fill up with smoke.
why is it funny when he states the simplest facts?
I don't know.
And in the middle of the smoke appears the Warrior. He is teleported into the cage, okay?
Well, it's his doppelganger, the Renegade.
The very first fucking thing that happens when he teleports into the cage is Hulk Hogan immediately beats his ass.
Yep. He had a visual clean pin on the guy if he would have pinned him.
So the Warrior, who just teleported into this cage, he gets his ass kicked and apparently thinks to himself, well, shit, let's start over again. The fucking smoke comes up and it goes down and he's gone.
Right.
Hogan's left holding his coat.
Yes. Then Warrior runs down the aisle.
Okay,
He teleported to backstage.
Yeah. I think, and this is me connecting some dots that maybe were not meant to be connected.
That he has a stand-in Warrior.
He has,
in
yes,
storyline.
exactly.
He has a Robin.
He has a lackey. He does. He has a boy wonder who he sends out there to take his beatings.
Okay, fine. Well, let's just imagine that
the
he has
best
a
I can
lackey,
do.
okay?
Okay, yeah.
But we can agree on one thing, Vinny. Whether it's the Warrior or a lackey, he has the power of teleportation. Correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so this fucker runs down the aisle, and he gets in the ring. They start brawling. Disciple pulls Hogan out of the ring. The Warrior is brawling with Stevie Ray.
Yes.
You paid this guy $1 million, and your plan to try to make him look good, he's had like one match, like that Ultimate Warrior Triple H match at Mania, in like 5 years. It fucking sucks. You put him in with Stevie Ray. They're brawling, and in the midst of this, Hogan gets pulled out of the War Games cage. He's outside.
He just leaves.
He just left.
I don't want to be in war games anymore.
Then Warrior can't get out of the cage.
Right.
Fuck you.
They lock Warrior in. He can't teleport anymore. He's done teleporting.
That's the most egregious part of this entire match.
Yeah.
Like, it's bullshit that a guy can teleport, okay?
But it's
if-
even more bullshit that he
if
can't.
in this universe he's able to, then why couldn't he? That makes me angry.
He can teleport in. He can't teleport out.
But he can. He did earlier in this match.
Oh, you're right. I apologize.
So Hogan circles ringside, and Warrior is following him around from the inside, and they get back to the near the aisleway, and Warrior begins to kick his way out of the cage. He also wants out of War Games now. And Warrior chases Hogan and Disciple to the back.
Oh, Vinny, perhaps you didn't see.
Oh, yeah.
When the fucking Warrior kicked the thing out of the thing, as Owen Hart would say, and dropped out of the cage, he blew out his ankle.
Did
And
not
he
notice that.
limped. after
Limped
Hogan.
his ass up the ramp after Hulk Hogan. He's now on one leg. You think Warrior on 2 legs is bad. Now we've got a one-legged Warrior brawling with Hulk Hogan in the aisle.
So they're all gone. Immediately, well, I don't know what happened. Stevie's got a slapjack. He swings it forward where both Bret and Page are and ends up hitting Bret. Whatever they were going for here, it didn't work. I don't know if this is supposed to look like an accident. I don't know if it was supposed to look like Bret pushed Page out of the way and took the bullet. I don't know. I just don't know what they were trying to do.
Well, based on Bret turning babyface, I think that's what was supposed to happen.
Regardless, Bret got hit, he was down, and Page immediately hit a diamond cutter on Stevie and pinned him. Match was stupid. It was long. It was boring. It was counterproductive. I do not recommend watching this.
You know, I wrote right here, was not -5 stars, but after reviewing it, like how?
You know why? I'll tell you why. If we were watching this in 1998, we'd have been throwing shit at the wall. We've been so pissed off.
It's true.
Do you know how many TNA pay-per-views I've seen where everything was stupider than this?
That's true. Standards are very, very different now.
Yes.
Now, Dave gave this -4 stars at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he thought could have been worse.
I don't know, but I thought it was... this may have been generous, but I went a 1/4 star.
You gave it in the positives? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was -5 stars.
I've seen many matches worse than this.
I have too, but like this was fucking terrible.
It was.
He had a teleporter who lost his ability to teleport in the middle of a match.
Maybe he can only do it when he's got his coat on.
Let me think about this.
Then how did he get to the back and leave the coat there?
Possible.
True.
Anyway, that match sucked.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not recommending it.
No.
I've seen thousands worse. Well, hundreds. Which leads us to Nitro, number 157, which I neglected to write on the date, but it's September 14th, 1998. So the announcers are discussing the fallout from Fall Brawl. They outright promised, tonight we're going to get a reunion of the Four Horsemen, and there are rumors Ric Flair's here.
Yeah, they're trying to win a ratings war.
Well, I guess that's
One
true.
smart thing they actually did.
That's true. Thunderous "We Want Flair" chants here in this South Carolina building.
Greenville, South Carolina. This was a legendary show.
Oh, it was.
Although the only thing I remember is the Ric Flair stuff.
Yeah. So they go live to the airport where Mike Tenay is there. Tenay says, "I just saw this limo pull away from this airplane. He attempted to interview the limousine. The limousine had nothing to say." So Mike Tenay goes dashing across the airport tarmac.
He would have been shot today.
To interview. I just like watching him run.
This was almost exactly 3 years before 9/11.
Yeah.
And it's another lifetime. This fucking guy is running out on the tarmac. Like the doors of the Learjet are open. This crazy guy is like shoving electronic shit into the airplane.
That's what happens.
And they're like, "Can you please move out of the way? We're about to take off right here."
Yeah. They had no comment about whether Ric Flair had been there and told him to get the fuck out of there. Had clips from Thunder.
Oh my God.
So awesome.
Oh yeah? So now what interview? You want to watch Thunder now?
No.
Say no, Vince.
I don't. But this 40-second clip I enjoyed. So Shivani is there to do a big interview. Of all the stars, how many guys you see on the roster? 300?
It's got to be like 380.
They're about... Okay, 380. There's about 360
Don't you remember his analogy from last week?
who can do better promos than Scott and Steve Armstrong.
Yep.
Armstrong Brothers 3 and 4. So the cat immediately interrupts, says he deserves this TV time to tell everyone how great he is. The Armstrongs protest, and Steve Armstrong says, quote, "We never get interview time. Do you mind?" I rewound it like 5 times just to make sure I got that right. Cat begins to leave. He returns and kicks their ass. Norman Smiley tries to make peace, but geeks separate them. And then at Fall Brawl, the Cat and Norman had another pull apart, which is exactly what Shivani called it.
Shad is so horrible. Just the fucking worst.
Well, do you know who's worse?
If you say Hammer.
Did you enjoy Van Hammer?
That was hideous.
Alex Wright had a terrible match with Van Hammer. Van Hammer, I don't know if he told anyone.
Actually, the best part of this, I'm looking at my notes now. Can we talk about the Phantom Flying Knee?
Okay.
Where Alex Wright whips him into the
Yes.
corner and he's going to hit him with a flying knee on the way out, but Hammer doesn't come out.
Yes.
But Alex leaps anyway and does like a loop-de-loo in the air
Yes.
and then fucking beats his ass.
He did a ballet maneuver.
He runs
pull
to
it
the
off.
corner, gets to the middle, stops, jumps straight up as high as he can, throws up one knee high in the air, lands on his feet, and then runs forward and does something. Poor Alex.
He should have curtsied.
I felt so bad for him. So even before that, Van Hammer has been on the flock for years now, and before that he was just a generic hair metal guy. I think he carried a guitar but never played it, as I recall, in the early 90s
Sure.
WCW. Now he's a hippie.
Yeah.
He comes out in like tie-dye and peace signs,
John Lennon glasses.
John Lennon glasses and the jeans. His peace signs everywhere. And apparently he never told anyone else he was going to do this because they're still playing the generic angry 90s metal song behind him.
Such shit.
He looked into the camera and compared himself to Jimi Hendrix.
This fucking match.
And again, it was the opener.
Yeah.
How many horrible matches have opened Nitro in the last month? Like every single solitary week we open with a terrible match.
Maybe no one told them that the opener is the second most important match in the show. Because it sets the tone.
Well, it set the tone for this fucking show, so they chose the right match.
By the way, it was during this match they announced Goldberg will defend the World Championship on this show against Sting.
Yeah.
Mandatory match.
24 hours ago,
Yep.
Sting was one of 9 men
Yep.
competing for a title shot. He failed.
Yep.
He did not come terribly close to victory.
Yep.
If you're going to rank the combatants, not only was he not first, he may have been like 6th or 7th.
Correct.
Stevie Ray was 9th. But yeah, now he just gets a title shot. Had a horrible fucking match. The Cat came out and killed Hammer for the DQ. And usually when they're doing this, because the whole gimmick is Cat hates wrestlers and wants to prove karate is best. So he kills Hammer, and he looks at Alex, and Alex starts to dance. I'm thinking, okay, spin kick's coming. And then Alex turns, and he walks away, and that's the end.
That's not the end.
Oh, there's more. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Miller cut this stupid promo about how he's the greatest. He's the baddest guy in the world. Nobody can beat him. Security guards come out, and they arrest Ernest the Cat Miller, WCW wrestler. They put him in handcuffs because he cut a promo. Mm-hmm. They drag him all the way backstage. The camera follows him the whole way. They put him in a cop car, and they drive him off. I hope this guy made millions from this company in that racial discrimination lawsuit, because this was the biggest load of horse shit I've ever seen in my life. How the fuck do you arrest a guy for cutting a promo and doing a run-in on Nitro?
On Nitro. All I know is they had a 3-hour show, and I think they intended this subduing the Cat and taking him to the cop car. I think they counted on at least 2.5 hours out of that. It took him forever. Mean Gene was late getting to the ring to call out Bret Hart for a promo.
A lot of stuff going on, he says.
So he calls out Bret. Bret's in street clothes, but he's also in shorts because he's Bret. He got his knee all wrapped up. And it's time for the babyface promo. He says, I have made a complete jackass of myself for a long time. Hulk Hogan's full of crap. Hogan and Stevie Ray, they tried to take me out, and I guess they succeeded because doctors say I won't wrestle again for a long time. Holds up his belt and says, I never won this U.S. title. I don't deserve it. So I'm going to be out for a while, but I'm going to be back, and I'm going to make Hogan's life a living hell.
What's funny about this babyface promo is I didn't buy a word he said. I actually think this was a legitimate attempt to turn him babyface, but they have done such a terrible job with Bret Hart. I just didn't buy a word of it. I thought it was just some bullshit angle.
So Roddy Piper comes out. Says Bret has been a jerk. He's been breaking his parents' hearts. But he's not the first man to get conned by Hulk Hogan. And Stu would be proud to see Bret speaking the truth right now.
Keeps talking about Stu in past tense like he's dead.
Was he?
No.
Oh.
He was alive and well. I was watching this promo going, what's going on here?
Well, maybe he just doesn't watch Nitro.
Or maybe just Roddy's so out of it, he just assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah, some guy on Twitter loved this promo, and I will admit, like, Roddy had great delivery, but what the fuck was he talking about?
I've seen many Roddy Piper promos less coherent than this.
That's true. Yeah. This was a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of being coherent.
He challenged Bret to prove what he was made of, and he left. And Bret mumbled something about not knowing where he'd go from here.
He just wanted one more chance.
Yeah.
Next up, there's a video package for the Saturn versus Raven match at Fall Brawl. They have clips. Tony Schiavone is going through everything that happened in the match. He finishes, and I sat there going, what the fuck happened in that match? I have no idea. You just recapped the whole thing. I have no idea what happened in that match. All I know is the flock has been freed.
Freed, you say?
That's it.
I was unaware that they wanted to be free.
Well, we don't know.
I thought they all chose.
We don't know.
I thought they all chose to follow Raven of their own free will.
Later on, and this is a really dumb thing too. Saturn's on the outs with Raven, and they were both feuding with Canyon. Correct?
Yeah.
So Canyon joins Raven, and now Saturn's on the outs, and now the whole flock is free, but Canyon decides to stay with Raven.
Yeah.
I feel like I just watched that video package again.
I
have no idea what's going on.
I have a headache that came up in the past 30 seconds.
I apologize.
I was feeling fine. It's not really your fault. It's literally your fault. You wouldn't let it die. But
It's hard to wrap your head around things when nothing makes sense.
Well, maybe you'll feel better when we talk about Saturn versus Kendall Windham.
I laughed because you guys were talking about this on Sunday. Kendall being a horrible, horrible wrestler, and he shows up on my screen a mere hours later.
Are you fucking kidding me that this happened?
No.
Like,
Can you believe it?
how the wrestling gods are powerful, let me tell you all. We
live in a simulation.
We're not even watching, like, it's not every week ago on the old WCW shows now, NWA shows now.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple weeks back. They're still in August. We just happened to watch Kendall Windham versus Gladiator #1 in 1987, 48 hours before we have to watch Kendall Windham versus Saturn in 1998.
He's gained some weight.
Yeah, let's talk about the positives. He's heavier.
He's thickened up.
He looks
He's
exactly like
definitely better than he was on that NWA show.
On the whole, if I'm being honest, he had improved in the decade plus.
Yep.
He looks exactly like his brother.
He looked like a bald Barry Windham.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the real issue with this match.
It went forever.
It went 10 minutes.
That is a problem.
You don't
So
say.
bad.
So let's talk about what this show opened with. It opened with Hammer versus Alex Wright. There's a fucking piece of paper backstage with matches on it. The first one says Hammer versus Alex Wright. The second one says Saturn versus Kendall Windham. And in parentheses, it says 10 minutes. What motherfucker put this show together?
So
They have 3 hours.
all I could think during this 10 minutes is this company is in a life and death wrestling war. And I am watching this clumsy oaf do slow motion arm wringers on Perry Saturn.
How about the big boot that missed by a mile?
Oh, yeah.
So
How about the blatant low blow in front of the referee that wasn't a DQ?
Kendall beats him up forever. It's better than 1987 Kendall, but it's so hideously dull. He does a back suplex with one foot on the middle rope and one on the bottom rope and falls at a funky angle and drops Saturn right on his shoulder. He's been on offense for seriously about 5 minutes straight. The thing about being on offense for 5 minutes straight is you can pace yourself. Not Kendall Windham. Kendall Windham got himself blown up by being on offense for 5 minutes straight. He goes to the middle rope for a diving elbow, only he can't jump because he's blown up, so he just falls down onto his arm. I think Saturn was making a comeback, but it was hard to tell because Kendall was so blown up he couldn't feed him for anything. Saturn picks up Kendall for a slam. Kendall's just dead weight in his arms. He slams him down. Saturn does his diving elbow. When you take a diving elbow, you kick your feet up and throw your arms up to sell the impact. Kendall Windham lied there like a dead man. Just down there.
And
He's on
then
fumes.
he kicked out of the flying elbow. What?
Saturn finally hit a DVD for the win. This is so much better than 1987 Kendall and still so dreadfully awful. I had forgotten. I always knew he was a poor, pale imitation of his brother. But I forgot just how truly awful he is. He may have surpassed Vladimir Pietrov as my most hated, worst wrestler who actually was a name.
Do you know that Kendall Windham right now, today, is 49?
So, no.
He's 49 years old.
He is 4 years younger than me.
So he was 30 in this
Or
match?
4 years older than me.
30 in this match. He
Wow.
was 19 or 20 on those old NWA shows.
Wow.
It's mind-blowing.
Huh.
He's not even 50 today. We just watched a show he was on from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And Dave, in the report for this match, said he assured us that at one point Kendall was good.
When?
I got to find out. Because it wasn't 86, 87.
Oh.
It wasn't 96, 97. Or 98.
Maybe he literally meant once he was good as in it happened one time.
Could be.
So Saturn hits a DVD and wins. But there's more.
Sure is.
Raven appears in the stands with his new buddy Canyon. The flock all come down to the ring. And then it is verbal debate time.
Hold on. There was some good stuff here. Saturn has given all of the flock a pep talk. As Raven says, this 24 hours is over. Come back to me. Saturn's trying to tell the flock, you don't have to come back to him. You're free. You can do whatever you want. He puts over Horace saying, Horace, we've worked out together. Throw away the sign. Get a pair of trunks and be a star.
That may have been Buddy Wayne cutting this promo for him.
He says, Riggs, you were once a tag team champion. You've got to do it again. Sick boy, he claimed, you're the hottest young talent in wrestling today. Load of horse shit. And he's in the middle of putting everyone over, and then he stops, and he looks at Lodi, and he says, good luck, Lodi. Kidman,
Did happen.
you could be the Cruiserweight champion. I just loved it. Like, he put every one of them over, but even now, he cannot bring himself to put over Lodi.
Oh, God.
He told them all to leave. They're free.
So they all sort of... You ever been to a party that goes too long and everyone's kind of waiting for the first person to leave and everyone's kind of milling about and then they kind of all just slowly leave at the same time?
No, because I'm usually the first guy out of there.
That's true.
Brian does a lot of ghosting.
Yeah. So anyway, everyone just kind of departed. Nothing was settled. Lodi looks very confused. Like, when you look back at the history of WCW, of all the stupid shit they did, I mean, there's more important stupid shit they did. I didn't know that anything was more stupid than the flock angle. It sucks.
There was a lot of stuff way more stupid than the flock angle. I'll tell you that right now.
Wrath versus Renegade.
There's one of them on this show.
Wrath versus Renegade. So, no, they never did
I'll
have...
just get it over with. Meltdown. Next.
Wrath pinned him. They never did do the Warrior Renegade confrontation.
Thank God. Jiminy fucking Christmas.
Wrath is getting over, coming out and squashing dudes every week. Amazing how that works. Hogan and his cronies came out for a promo. Bischoff celebrates that he is there and Ric Flair is not. Hogan talks about Bret and Piper, calls them sissies 3 times in about 20 seconds. Said everyone had seen him beat everyone up in War Games, which I guess is true, only for Warrior to sneak up from behind and rob him of his title shot.
Hogan is such a gimmick. Smoke rises.
He challenges Warrior to Halloween Havoc in Las Vegas. The ring fills with smoke. When it clears away, the disciple has vanished, leaving Hulk Hogan to circle the ring screaming, "Where's the disciple?"
Where's the disciple? And Warrior!
You know who looks good in a pair of chaps?
I was not...
Disciple does not look that good in chaps, Greg. Get out.
No complaints about Miss Elizabeth in this segment at all.
Yeah.
She could have been there the entire show, would have been fine with me. Kidman versus Juventud Guerrera.
They announced that Kaz Hayashi was supposed to get a title shot, but he was hurt, and so Kidman randomly is getting a shot at the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went and had a fucking great match.
Yes, they did.
This was the best match on Nitro since I don't even know when. They had tons of near falls. The fans got super into it. They were going crazy for all of the near falls there. Kidman hit a short power bomb, hit the shooting star press, pinned the guy 1, 2, 3. Everybody's going crazy. Saturn's there giving a standing ovation to Kidman. The fans are jumping up and down. They're cheering. This was great television in the middle of this abysmal run of programming. Am I missing anything?
They made a thing out of Kidman in one segment.
I couldn't believe it.
It was impressive. And it helps that Kidman is really talented. That is a big help, of course. But yeah, this is a win all around. And if anything, you are underselling the crowd reaction.
Oh, they went nuts.
And for the near falls at the end, it's great.
Juventud was in
these
this match.
Goddamn people wanted was like
Hey,
good wrestling matches.
Good Hoovy was really, really good.
Yes.
He just was there 20% of the time. Mean Gene ambushes J.J. Dillon backstage.
Hoovy is way better now than he was in 95. In 95, 96, when they first showed up, he was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
He's much better now.
That's true. So Mean Gene ambushes J.J. Dillon backstage. He says, "Is Ric Flair here? And if so, I want an interview." J.J. says, "Tonight's going to be special. I'm not going to spoil it for you." He sends him on his way.
He says, "I'm not going to spoil it because I want you to be surprised as well."
Yeah.
Flat out, they kept telling us Flair's here.
Yeah.
Without saying
they
Flair's
did.
here.
They did. Jackie Chan, yes, that Jackie Chan. He did a sit-down promo saying, "Hi, Larry. and he plugged his new movie Rush Hour.
That was bizarre.
I'm sure they showed clips on the show, but they can't show them on the network.
Yeah.
They announced that Jackie Chan was going to say some words.
Yeah.
And usually, like, you just do a stock interview and everyone gets to play it. Jackie actually acknowledged Larry. It's crazy.
I bet he did 50 of these for every morning show in America.
I'm sure he did.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Dave. Hi, Will. Hi, Larry.
Maybe they only sent it out to people named Larry and he only did one.
If only we were making this movie in the 70s. One of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
Oh, man. On the scale of stupidity with this angle, this was good.
Bischoff and Eddie Guerrero are having a confrontation backstage. Bischoff's so mad at him, he's going to book him on a tour of Japan.
Oh, no.
He says, you don't want to be in WCW? Fine, you're going to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
The announcers sold this angle by talking about how great it was to wrestle in Japan on big shows for big money.
Well,
they did then say it was not good to be away from Nitro for too long.
yeah, they said, it's great to be in Japan, but the longer you're over there, the worse it is. And out of sight, out of mind, said Larry. And, I mean, I know what he was trying to say, but to me, like, if you're out of sight, out of mind on Nitro, that's a positive.
Right.
That's also a good point.
This was like the story my grandmother told me when I was a child about Brer Rabbit and about please don't throw me in the briar patch.
Please don't send me to New Japan.
Yes, please don't send me to New Japan.
I'm going to, every time I go on Splash Mountain from now on, that's what I'm thinking of.
Then Eddie told him what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
And that was prophetic.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Oh, boy.
Barbarian versus British Bulldog.
All right, so the night before was the night where Davey Boy Smith fell on the trapdoor and hurt his back. So he came in here, and the idea was, well, work over my back. His back injury ended up being an infection, and then the infection almost killed him, and then he had a lot of issues as a result of this, and eventually he died. Mm-hmm. So this was kind of, I don't want to say this was the beginning of the end.
No, it's fair.
Well, I mean, he had problems prior to this, but this was in a lot of ways the beginning of the end.
This injury led to his painkiller addiction, which led to all sorts of bad things. So he's just out there like nothing's wrong, taking bumps like normal, getting slammed into the post. Barbarian was working the back.
He was selling his back the whole time.
Yep. Barbarian had a big ending in this match.
Yeah, he did.
Which is a move I never remember seeing until Big E did it. Nothing's new in this sport. So finally, Bulldog punches Jimmy Hart, hits a terrible power slam for the win, and walks up the aisle, grabbing his back in agony. This was so sad.
I don't think he was selling.
No. And it was time for the big angle. Actually, no, it's not.
No.
JJ was in the ring, but he come back later. So JJ, something happened with Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell. I don't know, but they're booking a Steiner rematch at Halloween Havoc.
My son walked into the room, saw Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell. Steiner poses, and Cameron goes, "Man, that guy is buff." I said, "This is a Three Stooges routine right here."
So as they're leaving, the lights begin to flicker, and there is loud cackling playing throughout the arena. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I could not figure out what this was, and I was like, well, it ain't the Joker. Who the fuck? And I was thinking about it, and then I remembered Halloween Havoc is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. It's fucking Chucky.
It's a doll.
The goddamn doll. And if I recall correctly, like, the first day the doll shows up, it's over.
The doll showed up. I think it's at the pay-per-view, so we can talk about it. The doll shows up, like, cuts a promo on Rick Steiner, plugs his movie, and is never seen again.
Yeah. It was way more over than the gobbledygooker.
Well, that's true. That was worse. The usual cringeworthy Nitro Party clips. So Jim Neidhart comes out. Then the NWO music plays, but the ring fills with smoke. As always, Bobby Heenan sells this smoke by coughing, even though they are 100 yards away.
I loved it because he starts coughing.
Yes.
And Tony Schiavone goes, "Bobby, quit coughing." And Bobby goes, There's smoke.
I can't. There's smoke. Like to Bobby, this is the most obvious thing. So the smoke clears. Warrior is there with the comatose disciple.
Another stupid promo. He brought up the OWN revolution. He doesn't tell us what OWN stands for. It's the One Warrior Nation. Like, now he's making up shit in his head, and he's presuming we know what he's talking about.
They brought it up,
but
like,
he's not explaining it.
They brought it up like 2 weeks ago.
The One Warrior Nation?
Yeah, it was written on the wall.
Oh, my God.
All I know is the NWO comes out and surrounds the ring. They're all too scared to do anything. And Disciple's basically on his hands and knees, and Warrior straddles him and begins to cut a promo about how all these men are cowering in fear. It was very kinky. And then Warrior accepted Hogan's challenge. The smoke
Then they went
returned.
under the ring together for the rest of the show.
They did. They went to Spoon. And that was that.
Excuse me? Funny you should mention that, though, in the next match. A double Steiner recliner.
Scott Steiner did a handicap squash against Silver King and Norman Smiley.
They should have had that warning on this show.
Beat them up for a long time, stacked them up one on top of the other, put a double Steiner recliner on. It was also kinky.
It was preposterous. But you know what's funny? It never doesn't get over when you put two guys in one hold.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the hold is. If you put two guys in one hold, it gets over. Name a hold.
Sleeper.
Put two guys in a sleeper at the same time, it's going to get over.
Bear hug.
Put two guys in a bear hug at the same time, it's going to get over.
And it's a party.
Dude, we've seen, who was it that tried the double, it was like the double Boston crab. Didn't we see that?
I'm sure
we've
at
seen
some
this.
point I have.
It got over. It's stupid. Two guys in a move works. Remember that. Easy pop.
You may all update your Tinder profiles now. Oh, let's see. More clips from Thunder.
Oh my God, this was great. So, it was bizarre. Bischoff is doing this promo with Arn, and I actually skipped through the first part of this so I didn't see Arn choking him. And I'm watching it going, why is Bischoff just choking repeatedly on the air on Thunder? So I had to rewind it. So he got choked. But then Eric is trying to say benevolent. And the funny thing is, he actually says it right once.
Yep.
And then he just can't say it again. Benevolent. And he rolls his eyes and he looks off screen. It's live television. He's just getting irritated with himself. And finally, he's so mad that he just goes, malevolent. God damn it, that's how you say it. I hate people that do that. Then challenges Arn to a left-handed arm wrestling match.
Yes.
Because Arn has a bad left arm.
He says, if you ever want to see Ric Flair wrestle in WCW again, you will have to defeat me in a left-armed arm wrestling match. And Arn immediately accepted. And they clarified, because this is very confusing, even by WCW standards. Ric Flair is free to come and go and appear on Nitro whenever he wants. But if he wants to wrestle in a match, his buddy Arn must defeat Eric in this arm wrestling match first. So those are the stakes.
Who wants to start? Let's talk about the greatest match of all time. This was better than Kidman and Hoovy.
Much.
Yes.
Much.
Shorter.
Giant versus Ming. And it was so bizarre because Giant's like a guy.
Sure.
He's like an NWO guy, and he's always in angles, and he's always in storylines. But tonight he was in a sumo match with Ming. And they go out there, and they just start fucking clubbering each other.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Don Fry Takayama match in Pride?
Yeah,
This was two Takayamas, just one was really big.
basically.
That's fair.
And they were going at such a hard pace that the Giant, who was a smoker, mind you, did not always have the best cardio, he is fucking completely, absolutely blown up. Meng is not blown up.
No.
Meng keeps coming at this guy. Giant has this look on his face. He has his look on his face like a big guy who, for the first time in his life, is
Yes.
like in a fight.
Yes.
And he's like, shit.
I know that feeling.
This is fucking hard.
Damn it. So amazing. They were throwing haymakers left, right, going back and forth, trading. And all of a sudden, Meng kicks him in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's radio, So this is bad, but Giant's face is way up here.
Yes.
It's way up here, and Ming is way the hell down here.
Yes.
He's super. Basically, they would clubber each other, and then they would stop, and they would clubber each other, and they would stop, and they would clubber each other, and then the greatest finish in the history of wrestling.
Yes.
This will never be topped.
No.
They're having nothing but a slobber knocker, and finally, Ming has him on the ropes.
He scores one kick.
He's got his number, and he does a kata, and you know the feared Tongan death grip is coming.
That's right.
And he thrusts towards the Giant's neck, but at the exact same time, the Giant grabs his neck for a choke slam. And because the Giant is 7 feet tall,
Yes.
and Ming is not, Ming's arms don't reach the Big Show's neck.
His arm is too short. And he tries.
My mind exploded. I was like, holy fuck. The perfect counter. Be long. He can't get to your fucking neck.
Also put that in your Tinder profile.
Sure.
And then the Big Show hoists this guy up and he pins the guy after the choke slam. And Giant stumbling his way to the back. It was like the end of the main event of the Tokyo Dome. They just show the guy. He's like, wow. He's drenched in sweat. He just looks like he's been in the battle of a lifetime.
He was.
They show him go all the long ass way up the ramp. I was like, this was so fucking amazing.
And the best part about it, it was like 3.5 minutes.
If that. Probably less than that. The brawling they did, they would do these flurries of brawls. They'd each throw 24 shots, and they'd back up, and Ming would sell a little bit, and he'd fire up and be all Ming. And no one had ever, I don't want to say no-sold, but no one had ever failed to put over the Giants' offense before. And you can tell, I don't know if this is what their plan, or if Ming just thought of this on the spot, but Giant was getting frustrated and blown up.
And he knew there wasn't shit that he could do about it.
Nothing he could do about it.
What are you going to do to Ming? You're going to do what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
It was so awesome.
Finally,
It was like Brawl for All.
they did.
It was.
I actually thought of that for a long time.
Big Show looked like a guy in Brawl for All.
That thought crossed my mind when I realized it's been 2 minutes and he's dead. He's totally blown up in 2 minutes. So, you, Brian, on Twitter noted this was incredible. I replied that I watched this match and then rewound it and watched it from start to finish over again, which I did do. It was awesome. And then I looked up the gif of grizzly bears fighting in the Alaskan plains.
That's what it is.
And when I thought of it as a joke, and the more I watched it, I said, no, this is exactly what it was. Except these bears are the same size. 4.5 stars.
Easy.
Just awesome.
And then you were talking about Eddie Guerrero and Bischoff being the shittiest angle in the history of this company.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Incorrect.
That was not the shittiest angle involving Eric Bischoff on the show. Scott Hall comes out to do the survey, only he's supposed to act a little drunk. Well, he's supposed to act very drunk, but it's Scott Hall, so he's always a little drunk. Takes him like 5 minutes just to do the survey and then go to break. And I thought, well, that was no less or no more entertaining than the usual Scott Hall survey bullshit, but I thought that was it.
Oh, no.
But then they came back, and Hall was still out there. And it's drunk Scott Hall versus Lex Luger.
There's two things about this.
There's many things about this.
Number one, of all the fucking things to copy from Raw, the drunken Hawk angle.
Yeah.
Like one of these shitheads was watching Raw and thought, I got a great idea. Let's copy what they're doing with Hawk, with Scott Hall. Both guys, by the way, having legitimate problems.
Yes.
So we're going to turn into a storyline on television. And then it's Luger versus Hall, where Hall is acting like he's so drunk he can't even work. And, I know this is the least of our problems, but why didn't Luger just destroy him and pin him and then do your stupid angle?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
This went on for 10 minutes, and I'm supposed to believe that Luger can't beat a drunken Scott Hall?
That's the message I got as well.
This was at the time where Scott Hall's wife was so concerned. She was writing letters to WCW telling them that this is an unsafe working environment and you're aiding Scott's non-sobriety or whatever.
No shit?
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening here. 1 year after the Christmas show, I got absolutely sloshed, and then I had Whitney or whoever drive me to the dojo, and I rolled when I was drunk. I got my fucking ass handed to me like never before. And I'm watching this stupid match, and, like, they're doing moves, and I'm like, this is so stupid.
It's horrible. It's horrible. So after 10 minutes of garbage, Hall trips getting back into the ring. Lex grabs him, pushes him back to the corner, and screams, "What are you doing? Someone's going to get hurt out here."
Isn't that the point of a wrestling match?
It's a shoot, brother. So Bischoff comes out to try to talk to Hall. He's not getting anywhere. At this point, Hall's hated enemies, the Wolfpack, Kevin Nash and Conan, come out in their pajamas, by the way.
I wrote that exact same thing. What in the fuck were they wearing? They were in their pajamas.
They must have been ready for bed and had to get out of bed to come take care of Scott.
Nash is wearing like a silk,
a silk black button-up shirt
and silk boxers.
Yeah, and Conan's got the Wolfpack shirt and then just plaid boxers.
Like, what the fuck?
So, no mention of the fact that Nash and Hall hate each other, and Nash and the Wolfpack hates the NWO. Everyone's just out there side by side.
Well, that's his brother, you see. He cares about him.
And everyone's just talking to each other, and Hall blows chunks on Eric.
Hall's screaming at Nash, "Where were you when my life was falling apart? You want to act like you guys don't drink." Vomits on Eric. Can you imagine they put this shit on TV?
This was terrible.
Can you imagine they put this on TV, bookmarked, or whatever you want to call it, bookended, with the Ric Flair return?
That is
Has there ever, this is a goddamn serious question for everybody listening, has there ever been a segment so bad followed by a segment so good? I don't think there has.
It'd be very hard.
Because the Flair thing was one of the greatest segments ever, and the Hall thing was one of the worst segments ever. I can't imagine there being another show in history with two segments like this back to back.
So JJ comes out in his tuxedo. The announcers ask, "Can this be the reformation of the Four Horsemen?" Dylan calls down Arn, apologizing for having put Arn in some awkward situations in the past. Then Arn takes the mic. Says he had been dreaming about being a horseman. Then he became a horseman one day, and he spent years working every day to make sure he stayed in the horseman. And then one day, he had surgery, and when he woke up, as he put it, Arn Anderson, the wrestler, was dead. Crowd begins to demand Flair. Arn promises everyone will get what they want tonight, including Eric Bischoff. Brings out Mongo, Benoit, and Malenko, who are all wearing tuxedos and looking terribly uncomfortable. I don't think any one of them had ever put a tuxedo on before. Arn goes to them one by one, says, "Benoit, there's no finer wrestler in the land. You will carry the horseman tradition through 2000 and beyond. Mongo, you're not always easy to be around, but you are all man, and you're an all pro. And someday I hope to make you as big a name in this sport as you were in pro football."
He didn't say that. He said, when all is said and done. Nothing to do with Arn. When all is said and done, Mongo, you will mean to wrestling what you meant to football. I was like, you killed every ounce of credibility you've ever earned in this business with that comment right there.
Says, "Dean Malenko, you have proven to me that you have the work ethic and the commitment to excellence that the horsemen require." Says, "Everyone has demanded that he bring back the horsemen, but be careful what you wish for, because we don't wear white hats. We're not nice guys." And he's about to wrap things up, and he says, "Oh, I forgot something. I've had some shots to the head. I'm getting a little old. I forgot the fourth horseman." Everyone goes crazy.
He joked about his Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. And he just shouts, "Ric Flair, come on down here." And they played Flair's music. Now here in 2017, of course, Flair had a long hospital stay. I hope when he came out of the hospital, they played his music. It just should. So Flair comes out. He, of course, looks very comfortable in a tux. His eyes are already starting to they're wet. They shoot off pyro. He soak it in cheers. He hugs the horsemen one by one, saves the biggest hug of all for Arn. And they give him the mic, and they all step back. And for a minute or two here, he was Richard Fleer. He's crying. Arn's crying. He says, "All the work I've ever put in entertaining you people, it's all been worth it." Thanks them for their cheers. And then like a switch goes off, and he's the Nature Boy. And he's screaming at Bischoff. So this is not TV, this is real life.
He cut a promo so crazy that his own mouth got busted open.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
I thought I was imagining things. So apparently in Columbia, South Carolina, I guess that's where they had done the passing the torch promo from Arn to Kurt Hennig a year or two ago. And Flair was crying and Sting was crying. And Eric called it great TV. And Flair goes off on Eric. This isn't great TV. This is real life. And then Bischoff told him to disband the Horsemen. And Flair had been weak and he had done it. He owed the fans an apology. He owed the Horsemen an apology. At this point, Bischoff came out in jeans and a polo because he had just been yacked on. Flair goes crazy. Overbearing asshole, he calls him. Abuse of power. You! Abuse of power. You suck. I hate your guts. You're a liar. You're a cheat. You're a scam. You are a no good son of a bitch. Fire me. I'm already fired. Fire me. I'm already fired. And they go to break. This is the best.
Tony said it was the greatest moment in the history of this television show.
Tony was also crying.
This was awesome.
You
What the hell can you say about this? One of Flair's greatest promos ever.
It was the Carolinas welcoming back Ric Flair.
Yeah, and they all knew. This was the Carolinas. Everybody knew everything that had been going on with Flair and Bischoff, the lawsuits and all that other bullshit. Came back here on the show. They gave them everything they wanted. It was perfect. In the midst of all this bullshit, they could still do something right. That's a lesson to take away from this show.
That's true.
And the bad thing is, when this is all said and done, spoiler alert, he gets to come back, and then he has a heart attack.
Yeah.
Well,
The other thing is...
Not a real one. In the ring.
Yeah. This is the third worked shoot angle on the show.
Yeah, and it was the best one.
Well, what's the best one?
Finally, they got one
If there
right.
was going to be one, it should have been this one.
Yes.
But Eddie Guerrero and Scott Hall and Ric Flair are basically all doing the same thing. So yes, they come back. Tony's weeping, calls it the best thing ever. DDP comes out to join the announce desk. He showed stills from War Games, which page 1. He congratulates Flair on his return, says he's here to do commentary for the Sting Goldberg Championship match.
He should be upset because Sting's getting his title match.
Well, no, he'll get one. He's biding his time.
He'll face whoever is champion at some point.
No, he's got to face Goldberg.
He must face Goldberg.
Oh, you're right. I forgot it was mandatory.
That was a mandatory championship
Exactly.
match.
You're
No,
right,
no,
Greg.
no, no, no. It was a mandatory championship match. So if
Sting won the championship, he couldn't face him because he's not Goldberg.
No, Buffer said it was that you. Do I have to go back to it? He didn't mention Goldberg.
What did we just talk about? Like
He didn't
40
mention
minutes
Goldberg.
ago?
I wrote down exactly what he said. Must I go all the way back here?
No. Let's continue.
He said
Getting late.
the mandatory contender for the WCW title. He didn't mention Goldberg.
Okay.
Don't look at me. Yell at Michael Buffer.
Must always be right.
No, I must be accurate.
No, you must be right
Well, I am right, but I'm also being accurate.
in this case.
Anyway,
We good?
I think
No,
so.
I'm still bad. Go ahead.
I'm good.
Sting versus Goldberg. No one sat down for this match. This
Why would
was
you?
the hottest star in wrestling against WCW's franchise. I kind of couldn't believe... I still can't believe. This is on Nitro with no build. This is not a pay-per-view main event, Goldberg and Sting. It was just randomly done for no reason. So much like Raw, it was a veteran pro wrestler against a very green man, but they were very different matches.
Oh, yeah.
Sting was so incredibly unselfish here.
It's true.
He did everything he could to make Goldberg look like an unstoppable monster. Sold everything. Hardly ever got any offense. When he did hit a move, Goldberg would pop back up to his feet and Sting would bail in frustration.
You're right, Vinny, but what was the finish?
They go to the finish. Sting finally gets a flurry of offense, a bunch of stinger splashes. Goldberg misses a spear. Sting goes to the Scorpion, and here things did fall apart. That's true.
Boy, did they ever. Sting did a one-man Scorpion, which is not as popular as a two-man Scorpion.
But maybe more difficult.
It was with this guy.
Sting also busted out a tombstone pile driver.
He did. He dropped him on his head with a tombstone. So Sting goes for the Scorpion, and Goldberg is in it, and he's refusing to quit, but the story is he's trapped. He cannot get out. Mm-hmm. He cannot reach to the left and just grab the goddamn ropes. He's absolutely, there's no hope for the man.
It was like 14 and a half inches away from him.
Hogan comes down to the ring and jumps inside and boots Sting in the head. Somehow the referee does not see Hulk Hogan getting in the ring and kicking Sting in the head.
He's very sneaky.
It's very sneaky. He used a teleporter.
Knocks the guy down, and then Goldberg hits the spear and the jackhammer, gets the pin. Now, I do not remember this. And I don't know why, because like you could hear the wind go out of the sails of the crowd when the end of the match was Goldberg. Goldberg had been beaten by Sting, and he was saved by Hulk Hogan. Had Hulk Hogan not been there, Sting would be the world champion right now. That's the story they told here. And I felt like it totally took the edge off Goldberg. I thought it hurt his aura. I thought the crowd, like from that point forward, the crowd was so hot for this match. And after they did that thing with Hogan, like they were quiet and they never came back. I was shocked.
Well, it's WCW. There's a reason they're dead.
This was the first time they really dropped the ball on Goldberg.
Mm-hmm. So, who should make the save? Not anyone in Sting's buddies in the Wolfpack, but Bret Hart.
On one leg.
Limps down, chases Hogan away with his one leg. Hart tells Goldberg what happened. The two of them tend to sting, and that's it. Hey, this is still a pretty good show, too, on the whole.
Yeah.
This was a hit and miss show.
That's fair.
I would go as far as to say that. But so, what is it? September?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
so he's losing the title in December, right?
3 months.
Okay. So when's the whole thing with Bret Hart happen in Canada?
Oh, that's much later, I think.
Is it?
I don't think Goldberg was champion when that happened.
Because I thought that he'd gotten a visual pinfall on Goldberg before the streak had ended. Am I wrong about that? I do feel like it was the next summer.
I don't remember it, but you were the book, so I'm not going to argue with you.
I'll have to look in this thing and find out. But anyway, this was the first time they fucked up Goldberg. I guess we'll see if it affects him next week, but I was shocked and sickened by that visual submission we saw right there. All right, everybody, that's the show. We went a long time.
Nitro, number 158, also September 21st, 1998.
Wow, another show where we didn't get the advertised main event. It's almost like this happens all the time.
Scott Hall showed up drunk.
Before we get to that, do you know that this
The
year...
show?
Do you know that 1998, I believe it was, one of these years, I'm pretty sure it was 98, Scott Hall wrecked 6 cars.
Wow.
Because he had so many personal issues, and it was just one car crash after another. And so now it's an angle that he's fucked up and drunk, and his life is spiraling out of control, and he shows up at the building with a wrecked car.
Mm-hmm.
On the other show, you got Hawk, who has been taken away and bumped and messed up matches and this and that and the other thing, and he also had massive problems at the time.
In neither promotion did they give 2 fucks about any of the talent.
Agreed.
Like, they didn't care one bit if guys lived or died. It's incredible. Let's just kill everybody with chair shots. Oh, you're having serious psychological problems and you're crashing your cars and you're drunk and your life is... Let's turn it into an angle. We don't give a shit.
When you hear that a friend or family member has been in an auto accident, your automatic reaction is to say, oh my God, is he okay?
Right.
When you're in 6 auto accidents and they're so not concerned, they just make a joke out of it? Jesus Christ. So Scott Hall is drunk. He says, my car is wrecked. Doug Dillinger, you must go fix it. We got 3 solid minutes of the Nitro Girls dancing and the announcers flapping their gums. And the ring fills with smoke. The smoke clears. Disciple is lying on the mat, face down, unconscious, in his chaps. There were pants under the chaps, but still.
Thank you.
NWO comes out to retrieve him. Smoke returns, and then Disciple is gone. Buff Bagwell is so distraught about the Disciple disappearing, he climbs the turnbuckles and poses.
Not only that, but like the whole NWO comes down and Hogan's freaking out that his friend is gone. Scott Steiner just walks up, looks in the camera, and flexes a bicep. Like, look at how big my muscles are.
So
It's not that it's just Hogan's friend. It's his disciple.
It's his lifelong buddy.
Oh, well, there's all kinds of terms you could use for relationships in the show. Warrior appears in the rafters. He says one of 2 things, either of which is hilarious. He either says, up here, Speed Racer, or up here, Speed Racer. Like he thought Speed Racer would show up in front of him. Warrior's in the rafters. Disciple is by his side. Hogan cries, "Give me my disciple back, Warrior." These are quotes.
Yeah, give me my disciple back.
He challenges Warrior to come and fight. Everyone cheers because they want to see the fight. Warrior says, "He kneels beside me because he has not yet been instilled with the power of the Warriors." That's a quote. They're ranting about Halloween Havoc. Hogan dares him to fight again, and then it just ends.
Fans were still into this guy. They were still chanting for the Warrior. I could not believe my eyes. Do you know how fast the audience would have turned on this guy in 2017 doing this storyline?
With the Warrior signal.
And they're still into the guy.
I don't know. He's using magic to kidnap men.
Right.
Yeah.
And teleport.
And all kinds of stuff.
I still stick by my claim that it's the jacket that helps him teleport.
It's not the jacket, dude. The smoke rises. Sometimes it wipes guys out. This time it didn't. It's not noxious smoke this time. It's all bullshit.
Really?
And
wrestling?
Speaking of, how many times now, how many weeks has it been that we started the Nitro review and I've said, another stellar match to kick off Nitro?
Well, here's one.
Let's say it again. Another stellar match featuring Barry Darsow against Fit Finlay.
It's 1998.
I love Finlay, but Jesus Christ, Barry Darsow. Even
Smash.
Finlay could not get a good match out of this guy.
Smash is in the opener in 1998. Did we mention Fit Finlay's hair?
It's better.
Then what?
The mullet.
No.
Don't you remember when he had that goofy mullet and the weird outfit?
The buzzed sides, the buzzed back, but then the top is still going out to the sides, so he looks like a tree.
I'm working on that
He
myself
looks
right
like
now.
Dexter from The Offspring. Same
I
haircut.
gotta look this up now. Here's everything I wrote. They traded holds and strikes for 3 or 4 minutes, and Finlay hit a tombstone for the win.
Boring match, Finlay wins with the tombstone. Way to kick the show off hot. Did I miss anything?
That is true.
We had like 9
Dexter
minutes.
Holland has better hair than Fit Finlay did here.
Fair enough.
We had like 10 minutes of recaps.
It is blonde and spiky.
And then up next was Wrath versus Eugene.
Yeah. Nick Dinsmore. For about a second and a half, I got so excited when Nick Dinsmore ran out and I said, oh, he's just going to get squashed by Wrath.
He was so green here.
Yeah.
And he actually got to do a couple of moves, but then Wrath killed him.
He was there to get killed by Wrath and make Wrath look good, and he did a fine job of getting killed by Wrath and making Wrath look good. Wrath won with the Pump Handle Power Slam. An upset.
The Pump Hundle.
Is that what I said?
I think that should be your new move.
Pump Hundle?
Yeah.
Sounds lewd.
It does, really.
Sounds so
You
true.
want to go back behind the barn and pump Hundle?
Do the Pump Handle.
Tell it to dance now.
I don't know.
Dance.
He said, do the Pump Hundle.
No.
He's red now.
I think he's tried the pump Hundle.
Texting Bridget.
Had a Goldberg Page hype video that was the most 1990s thing I may have ever seen.
If Vince asks
Don't you dare.
to Pump Hundle,
Don't you dare.
say fuck no.
Don't you.
What if she texts back,
Craig,
who's Hundle?
Punch that man.
Who's Hundle and why is Vinny Pump?
I hate you.
Is that Handel's
I've
sister?
never hated you more than I hate you now.
Is that Hansel's sister, Hundle?
As in Hansel and Gretel?
Sure. Hundle? Hansel? Hundle?
The fuck are you talking about?
I don't
Rick
know, I'm just-
Steiner versus Ron Fuller.
Trying to liven up the show, for God's sakes.
That's what that moment needed.
There was a Goldberg Page hype video. It was silly. Rick Fuller and Rick Steiner. I was very excited for the slobber knocker, and then they attempted to do MMA.
Well, it sucked,
It did.
and Steiner won. And then, if you recall, like a week ago, maybe it's a couple of weeks ago, Rick Steiner did a backstage promo about his brother. It was the goddamn greatest promo of Rick Steiner's career. One of the best promos I've heard in I don't even know how long. And somebody said, you know what? Rick, like, you need to bark again. So he came out here, and he barked, and it sucked. This fucking promo was terrible, because they made him bark again. Like, when something works, can't you just go with it? This was not an improvement.
I want to talk about Rick Fuller and the part where I couldn't tell he was trying to pull guard or if he just fell down.
I bet he fell down, would be my guess.
Steiner won with a diving bulldog. Cut a bad promo.
Can I just go over all of that?
There was evil cackling.
It's Chucky.
I know. Do we spoil that last week? I forget.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Did we spoil it?
Well, people may not know.
19 years ago.
There's a lot of things I'm sure people know.
Let's not let people know the company died.
I'm sure people know when Goldberg loses.
They may think a turnaround's coming.
People probably don't remember the evil cackling from the summer of 1998.
We all did.
It took us a while. There's a lot of people listening who didn't watch this before. Hogan and crew came out for a promo.
They probably don't believe us anyway when we say that there's cackling in the arena to set up Chucky the doll showing up on Nitro.
That's actually a fair point.
I'm sure they think we're full of shit.
That actually is a fair point. Hogan calls out Warrior. Warrior appears at the entranceway, says, "Follow me."
Didn't we just see this 30 minutes earlier?
Yes.
Pretty much. Hogan goes up the aisle. They get to the top of the stage. Now it's smoky. Hogan freezes, but he goes with the smoke. They're in the backstage area playing hide and seek. When Bischoff points and says, "Look!" We go into Hogan's locker room, where the Warrior symbol is painted on the wall and it's on fire. "Watch my back!" Hogan screams.
Seems like a fire hazard, by the way.
Hogan finds
fire.
Hogan finds the disciple lying on the bathroom floor.
Disciples passed out on the bathroom floor.
Probably not the first time.
Not the last.
Probably.
So then somebody standing next to the cameraman.
This was so low rent.
Fires a fire extinguisher. Were we not supposed to see that?
You could hear it, that it was directly.
You could see it. There's the fire hand.
And there was the hose in the shot.
They needed smoke to rise, and they had no smoke. So I'm sure it's probably fire extinguishers in the ring that make all that smoke come up.
Maybe.
But yeah, when it's right by the camera and you hear somebody set off, I mean, maybe we're supposed to think it's Warrior. I don't know.
You could hear somebody pull the pin.
You could see the hose on the camera shooting fire extinguishers.
It was very
everywhere.
bad. Disciple vanishes.
Disciple vanishes. Hogan tried to find Disciple in the mirror. He was not there.
Not yet.
It's coming, dude.
Spoiler alert.
Like next week. All I know is that Larry was so not into this.
What?
Don't say.
And when Disciple vanishes, he just totally deadpan goes, "Did they flush him?"
Oh, God, these shows.
I mean, it's a goddamn good question. He vanished out of the bathroom. There are not that many exits if the main one's blocked.
For some reason, I just had a vision of Warrior standing behind Hogan with the fire extinguisher, letting it off, and then sneaking around and grabbing Disciple and pulling him out.
What the hell do you think happened? He teleported? I'm sure that's what did happen.
We needed to see Warrior tiptoeing backstage like Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
That would have been better. We had clips of the flock disintegrating last week.
Well, he's got a screwed up ankle and a screwed up bicep, so I don't think he's going to be doing much tiptoeing.
Just tipping.
Limping, maybe.
Then we had the segment the show is most infamous for. Raven and Canyon versus Viano 4 and 5.
Yikes.
Do you know what is amazing about this segment?
That somebody
He's still wrestling?
Well, no, he lived, but I remember this from the time, like vividly. And I watched it again here, and it's, trust me, I mean, it's still horrible. Like, the guy gets dropped right on his head. They go for the combo powerbomb neckbreaker, and I mean, it's hard to tell who is really at fault.
Oh, it was Canyon.
I have had people say it was all Canyon's fault.
He went too late.
Basically, Raven...
Their timing was off. That's indisputable.
Raven starts to go. Canyon's not going. So Raven stops, and then he goes again, and Canyon still doesn't sit down. And Canyon finally sits down. Now, I don't know what the fuck happened here, but the guy got dropped right on his head, and he's almost killed. Got a sprained neck, I guess was the official diagnosis. What's funny is, like, as bad as this was, after about the 9th time that I watched it, it was kind of like, it wasn't that bad. In the sense that, do you know how many times we have seen guys get dropped on their heads in wrestling in like the last 19 years since this took place?
Quite a few.
So many stupid head drops in every company in the world. Like even when John Cena got dropped on his head by Shinsuke Nakamura, like that looked worse than this did. But there was less head dropping in America in the 90s. And so this was like something that people will never forget.
I gained a ton of respect for Raven in this because he was script be damned, and he's keeping his head still. He's having him, telling him not to move.
When they show the replays of this, they do the move. I think the injury happened because the angle is not severe, but Viano's head comes down on Raven's arm, which I think put extra stress on it instead of landing on the mat.
Yeah, the giant powerbomb with Nash that went wrong looked worse than this.
Yeah.
But I mean, clearly this was terrible.
But Raven knew right away it was fucked up.
Yep.
You could tell by his expression. He was talking to the guy instantly. And yes, all he did was cradle the guy's head, put his hand on his chest. He didn't move. He didn't look up. This is not bullshit. And the guy was down and Raven was on top of him. The ref didn't even bother counting a pin. He just rang the bell. So Canyon gets in. He's concerned. Viano 5, as far as he knows, has just watched his brother die. But he's out there to do a job. So he tries to pick a fight with Canyon.
This man is a professional.
Yes.
A different kind of professional from Raven.
Yes.
Like, God damn, I gotta attack Raven. He goes over and boots Raven in the fucking head as Raven's trying to keep his brother from moving his neck.
Yeah. So Canyon half-heartedly throws him out of the ring. Everyone freezes, and eventually the actual medical people show up, and Raven and Canyon slink away. They do a ton of replays. They go to the announcers, who I swear are silent for like a solid 15, 20 seconds. And then finally they go back to the ring where Viano 4 is now sitting up, which is a great sign. And then he actually walked out of the ring with help.
Can you believe they let that guy walk to the back after this?
Ridiculous.
Are you kidding me?
He should have been backboarded out.
These dumb shits. Fans cheered him. At least he got a pop. This was so dumb.
Well, the good news is he is still alive.
Yeah, I wrestled him afterwards.
Did you?
Yeah, that's
Saw that. He had a match 2 days ago. So it worked out in the end. Disco Inferno had a cruiserweight title match tonight.
Yeah.
But the championship match was strictly enforced. He had to meet the weight limit. So Disco Inferno is cutting weight.
Yeah, the weight limit's like 220, they claimed.
Sure.
I'm like, 220? Jesus Christ.
Alex Wright comes out, cuts a promo in German, says Americans are stupid and disgusting, and DDP is the most disgusting of them all. He wants Paige to come fight. And Paige accepts. They do a match. Paige sells the whole time, hits the diamond cutter out of nowhere, and wins.
That's a great diamond cutter. He flipped out of a back suplex and then immediately hit the diamond cutter. I popped.
It looked like Alex was out wrestling Paige, but in fact, he was doing exactly what Paige wanted.
That's right.
Alex put himself in position for the diamond cutter. The whole point here was to show that Paige can take a severe beating, and as long as he gets that diamond cutter, he can win, even against Goldberg. So this was a success.
It was a success, but he took a severe beating from Alex Wright.
And Paige cuts a promo. He's talking about kids dreaming about being champion, and the fans are chanting Goldberg, and it's clear they like Goldberg more than him, and he should have wrapped this up and just called it a night, but he has kept on pushing through. Goldberg's undefeated. I've lost a ton. Goldberg shot to the top. I've been working years at this. Crowd just keeps turning on him, and finally he just says Goldberg may feel the bang.
You know, I realized that this couldn't work because Nash was building this guy up for himself, but this should have been Wrath.
Yeah?
If DDP is going to get a shot at Goldberg for the championship at the Halloween Havoc pay-per-view, he's the guy that should have ended Wrath's undefeated streak with the diamond cutter in this match. That would have been a way better story than Alex Wright, the dancing dildo, took him to the limit before he gave him a diamond cutter. I mean, it was kind of neat, but like, as a viewer, sort of like, and now you're going to go face Goldberg?
Well, there's that.
This dancing numbskull put you through the ringer. And then this shit.
Nitro party clips from, this is a quote, a group of guys from Superior, Wisconsin who forgot to include their name. Wow. There were geeks jumping in the pool.
So they did not put the Superior in Superior, Wisconsin?
They were inferior.
Yeah.
They jumped in the pool. They went to Mean Gene's Burgers. They watched TV. They showed Kat getting arrested last week. And then I don't care what you guys say. The first half of this next segment was awesome.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Kat versus Lenny Lane. Kat comes out and says, by law, I am required to warn you. I am a 3-time karate champion, and I can tear you apart with my bare hands. I will give you 5 seconds to not just leave the ring, but to leave the city.
Right.
So Lenny clarifies, I have 5 seconds to leave and not fight you? And Cat says, that's right. And Lenny takes a few steps, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to step, and Cat will turn his back, and Lenny will jump him. No, Lenny was going to leave. Lenny was going to heed this man's warning. And Cat says, where are you going? And Lenny says, you're a 3-time karate champion. I'm not an idiot. I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed. How Lenny can ever have a match on this show again, I don't know. But for one night, I laughed and laughed and laughed. So Cat shakes his hand and then drops him with a kick to the throat, and they start doing a match. I was wildly entertained. And then drunk Scott Hall came stumbling down the aisle. He attempted to climb into the ring. Dusty Rhodes comes out to pull him away.
Dusty Rhodes?
Uh-huh. He's speaking to him in his Virgil Runnels voice.
Is he still in the NWO?
As far as I
As
know.
far as we know, yeah. Huh. You're throwing your future away. You can't do this. And he takes him backstage. The match is still going on. Cat wins with a roundhouse kick.
I mean, I was impressed that Dusty was able to talk him off the ledge.
Literally.
He is the greatest promo of all time, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And Shad hit his fucking kick for the pin. Sick of this. Sucks.
It's just getting started, Brian.
I know. I can't even believe it. I've never seen someone regress so badly. He was like good in his first ever match ever.
And they got worse.
And he's getting worse the more he wrestles.
Disco tried to weigh in again. He may wait this time, and immediately went over to the water cooler. Severe dehydration going on. More random maniacal cackling after the break.
You look at the fans in the crowd as this is going on.
I can't see that I did.
Bewilderment.
Well, yes.
They have no idea what's going on.
Nor did we when it was going on.
And some people are laughing along with it. It's ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure none of us knew it was Chucky the Doll until Chucky the Doll showed up on the screen.
I think I knew.
He showed Jericho, Ralphus, and the Jerichoholic Ninja at Fall Brawl, ripping off Spinal Tap and not being able to find their way to the ring.
This was the Nitro debut of Ralphus.
So finally they get to the ring, where Jericho calls out his opponent, and out comes a Goldberg imitator, and I thought, hey, it's Gilbert. Then I thought, wait a minute, Gilbert was on Raw.
Right.
Gilbert was a ripoff of a WCW idea. I was stunned. So Jericho beat this fake Gilbert, did a promo, said he had beaten Goldberg, was the rightful world champion. Much to my surprise, the best thing on either show tonight was Saturn and Jerry Flynn.
It's one of those matches where it starts, and then I make an assumption, and so I write something in my notes, like this went on forever, blah, blah, blah. And then I have to go back and remove it because I'm stunned by what actually happened. The story of this match...
There was a story in this match?
Yes.
Okay.
Jerry Flynn is a karate expert, and Saturn decided, I am going to beat you at your own game. Saturn kicked the shit out of this guy. Saturn is a guy that does a lot of high-flying moves, so after getting his ass kicked in karate, Jerry Flynn decides, I'm going to beat Saturn at his own game. He does a fucking running pescado dive over the top rope to the floor.
Out of control.
Table set up outside.
Stop right there. There's a table on the floor. Saturn goes to grab it, and Tony explains, hey, that's David Pinzer's table. The ring announcer gets an entire table to himself.
Well, you know, you need a lot of room for all your notes.
All your 3x5 cards?
Yeah, when you're a ring announcer. You gotta set them up like a game of memory.
Maybe he's doing double duty as the bell ringer.
So Saturn goes up top, splash off the post, which actually was really cool looking, but also really safe. Killed him with a DVD for the pin. This was the best match on either show.
Mm-hmm. You left out
Saturn versus Jerry Flynn.
You left out Jerry Flynn getting offense, and he puts Saturn against the post on the outside, throws a kick. Saturn kind of ducks, and he kicks the post. And then
they just keep doing stuff.
They did some more stuff, and then Jerry put Saturn against the post, and Jerry threw a kick, and guess what? He kicked the post again.
He did.
What an idiot.
Clearly,
Greg, if at first you don't succeed,
fail again?
Try again.
I see.
So they did strikes in this match. They did a lot of pro wrestling. They did submission wrestling. They did hardcore stuff for the table, and it was all good. Saturn suplexed the mat everywhere. They did the table spot, and Saturn won with the DVD. This was so much fun.
Craig, have you ever lost your keys and you're looking for them and you just can't find them anywhere in the house? And then you're like, I know they've got to be in this room. And you go back in there again, and there they are. This has happened to everybody. Well, if you hadn't tried again, you'd have to go get a whole new set of keys.
So you're telling me...
First, you don't succeed. So you're telling me that through the rest of Jerry Flynn's career, he should never throw a kick when the guy's up against the post?
Frankly.
You never know when the guy won't move.
He did it within 30 seconds of each other.
Yeah, you gotta try.
Well, he never succeeded, so I guess his keys are still lost.
How about you kick the post and then, I don't know, Saturn goes on offense and attacks the leg?
Well, I mean, that's psychological.
Well, that was their plan.
As a person, you got to keep trying.
I'm still looking for the story.
See,
never give up.
Okay, here's what happened, Craig. He kicked the post the first time, and then one of them forgot what to do.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because the next time they did it, he kicked the post, and then Saturn threw his back into the post, and then threw his head into the post.
So my guess is Saturn forgot what to do the first time he kicked the post.
Okay. They were in his hometown, so he got to pull out the table, and he got to get the big Duke over Jerry here.
Yes, in WCW, the hometown hero got a win. It was all downhill after that. The last hour or so of the show was so bad.
Yep.
Jericho did a commercial.
Well, no. We had Disco versus Kidman coming up. That was good. Am I the only one?
We'll get to it.
Wow.
Jericho did a commercial
really
for his T-shirt. It was a PSA-style promo about the dangers of Jerichoism. Steiner and Bagwell did a promo. At least the stupid doctor is gone.
This promo absolutely fucking sucked, though.
Yes.
And then...
Jokes about a baseball game from 12 years ago at this point.
He calls out Bret Hart. Mm-hmm. Bret limps out, and they proceed to beat his ass. And who should make the save for Bret Hart but Sting?
Yeah.
Do you remember how this started? It started because Bret Hart was a heel, and he was lying that he was friends with Sting, and meanwhile he was screwing and beating up Sting at every turn. They've decided you fans are so stupid that you're going to forget that, and so the rest of the story is they're really friends. I'm the only one.
That's what happened.
I'm the only one. This was horseshit.
I can't keep track of all the stupidity. I did like... So, Sting runs out to save Bret. Steiner and Bagwell go to flee. Rick Steiner comes out to attack Scott Steiner. And when danger is present, Buff Bagwell sets an Olympic time for the 100-yard dash. You've never seen a man this big run so fast as he ran backstage. So we had Disco Inferno versus Kidman. Now, in a vacuum, as a pro wrestling match, it's pretty dang good. But the story is, Disco has been cutting weight all day. Now he's in there, an hour later, he's exhausted. He's on fumes. He's got nothing left.
It's a great story.
Kidman is the small, underdog, babyface cruiserweight champion in his first defense. And his first defense is, he can't beat this guy who has nothing left.
Well, it's still a severe weight differential here, Vinny. He's still fighting a larger man.
Who's asleep.
Which, by the way, can I note that Disco Inferno in a fake sport in 1998 understood how much a weight cut drains you and keeps you from performing at your best? And these fucking idiots in mixed martial arts are still killing themselves in 2017? Am I going to have somebody come up to me in 5 years and go, we didn't understand the danger of weight cuts back in 1998. It's only been the last couple of years. Because that's bullshit.
So Kidman fights and fights and fights, and nothing he can do can beat this exhausted, tired, empty husk of a man.
But he got his second wind.
Shivani notes, quote, amazingly, this match is still going on.
Yeah.
Goes on and on. Lodi comes out with signs. He misses Raven. He needs the flock. Kidman, because he's not a big enough geek, is distracted by this. Disco hits a pile driver. Now Disco's firing up and making a comeback. Who did Kidman piss off?
Nobody, dude. He won the match.
Took him a long time.
They're telling a story here, and I think they are turning Disco babyface. The way they put him over at the end for how hard he tried.
He's been babyface for like a year.
I'm not sure about that. No, because he was with the dancing dildos, and they were heels.
Did you notice Disco doing the 5-knuckle shuffle in this match?
He did.
He did a disco dance and a 5-knuckle shuffle. Kidman hit the You Can't Powerbomb Kidman, and finally the sitting spine buster and the shooting star press for the win.
I enjoyed this match.
The evil, cackling laughed at Disco.
Now, I'm not going to lie about this next segment. I warned you guys. The moment that Chavo got on that fucking stick horse, I fast-forwarded through the entire match. I don't know what happened. This can just fuck off. This is what broke me.
Now, what happened?
I will never watch the stick horse. Do you hear me?
Well, you chose well. And that's not because of the stick horse.
You know what? I got to say this. Between these two combatants, Conan and Chavo Guerrero was a superior athlete this week and actually carried this match.
Okay. Carried it to what?
Carried it to a match.
They had a fucking... First of all, Conan comes out. Did I mention how sick I am of Conan's pre-match spiel? It's the exact same thing every week.
Yes.
There's zero creativity to it.
That's everyone's spiel. Like DX has a different spiel every week. It's the exact same one every week. Everyone
true.
uses
He's got
the
a
same.
point.
Scott Hall's survey, they're all the same.
That's true. I don't know why Conan's bothers me
I don't
so much.
either. It's baffling.
Maybe it's because I know Conan's going to wrestle. And that's bad news, too. Because the match was worse.
If he would keep his hands away from his crotch, I think I would...
Yeah, because that's never gotten a wrestler over before.
That's true.
So...
That was big back then. Yanking on your Johnson.
Craig, you want to tell him?
I don't think he's... I think he's just... Vinny, continue.
So this
want Craig
match
to tell me.
just goes for hours and hours and
Thank
hours.
God I skipped it.
Legit.
I wrote seemed to go hours from that point.
Conan, by the way, did you know that he was in bad shape, and the longer a match went, the more tired he got?
He got blowed up.
He was more tired in real life here than Disco was pretending to be in the prior match.
He was as tired as I was when I was watching this.
Goes on and on. 8.5 minutes plus a commercial break. So like 12 minutes in the building. It goes on and on. Finally, every Conan match ends the same too. Leapfrog, spin kick, X Factor, Tequila Sunrise.
Except he was too tired.
He was too tired to do the leapfrog. So he just does the spin kick, does the X Factor, and he just lies there and lies there and lies there, huffing and puffing. And he gets up and he does this move every fucking week. And it was his idea to do the move, so he must know how to do it.
No.
He grabs the arm and he grabs the foot and he does the little spin around and he's just lost. And I don't know if he's too tired to do the move or if he's if his in exhaustion he's forgotten the steps or if or if Chavo's resisting. But it took him a few tries to get the Tequila Sunrise on and finally the match ended. Miserable.
Kind of sad I missed it now. Not really.
Eric Bischoff comes out with a promo with Liz, who was smoking hot.
Did I mention last week that she looked good in chaps?
I'm fine with this outfit. How is she hotter in 1998 than she
Can
was
we
in
talk about
1988?
this promo for crying out loud?
I don't want to.
The Ric Flair promo?
It's from last week.
What are you talking about?
The Ric Flair promo, where he drops 7,000 inside references.
I apologize.
Dude, this promo... Okay, so last week's promo was better because of the crowd, but as a promo, this promo was so great.
If you're an insider.
Well, I am.
There you go.
Okay, fair. All right.
He's got me there, Vince.
So he starts talking about the Horsemen. They're not dead. They're back. And he starts putting the Horsemen over one at a time. And it was funny because they were in Boston. And he's talking about Mongo, the football player. And Mongo, as a football player, beat the holy hell out of Boston's team, so they all booed him. Keeps on going through. Malengo's this tough guy. Benoit's a tough guy. Arn's my best friend. Goes forever. Goes into Bischoff and says, I'd hit you, but I don't have another $2 million. So he's broke now, I guess. Goes to the story
Yeah, he actually admits it during the show. Bischoff said, you didn't save your money, did you, Rick? And Rick's like, no, I spent it all, and I'm awesome. He doesn't give a shit.
Says he wanted to go see Reed win a national wrestling tournament, and he did win. Bischoff wasn't going to let him go, so he went anyway, and then Reed learned from a neighbor Flair had been fired.
Hey, he explained it all to you.
He's going on and on and on, and he's not dropping inside terms. He's being very creepy and lecherous toward Liz.
Well, yeah, he's Ric Flair.
I'm trying to figure out why we're supposed to cheer for the dirty old man. And
Because he's Ric Flair.
he makes a move for her, and thankfully she scurried for safety behind Bischoff.
In what universe is this different? I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying, what the fuck do you expect? Ric Flair's in the ring with Liz and Chaps. Like, what in the world do you expect out of the guy?
I don't know. And finally, Flair says, we'll be in Norfolk next week, and Bischoff says, no, you won't. And they hold four fingers in his face. And
I thought this goddamn promo was absolutely unbelievable. Flair was so great. Doug Dillinger was great. Like, Doug Dillinger was supposed to stop the Horsemen from getting in the ring, and they had a long stare down, and then Doug Dillinger let him pass, and everybody goes crazy. Gets in there, just him and Bischoff going back and forth. It was so good. This was the best thing on either show.
And Rick with the best line, Space Mountain's the oldest ride in the park. Still got the longest line.
I don't know what that had to do with anything, but it was a great line.
That was towards Liz.
It was great.
The NWO team in the main event is supposed to be Scott Hall.
No, it's supposed to be a singles match.
It was?
Nash versus Hall.
It was?
I'm almost positive.
I could have sworn they said it would be a tag match. Well, here's what happened.
It doesn't matter.
It's time for the main event. The first man to walk through the curtain is Stevie Ray. I almost threw up. I do not want to watch a Stevie Ray match, and the Giant is with him. So Buffer introduces Stevie Ray and then says Giant filling in for Scott Hall.
Keep that in mind. They brought in Buffer for this.
I brought him every week.
Hey, he's there for everyone.
He introduced Giant as the master of the Power Slam, a move I don't think he has ever used. Nash and Luger come out. The most hysterically elaborate pyro you ever saw. It just goes on and on and on. And they turn, they look at each other, they start laughing. They will go down to the ring. It's not like Nash is fast when he makes his entrance. He gets down to ringside, the pyro is still going off.
At one point, they both turned around in awe of the pyro going off behind them.
It goes on and on and on.
If you only knew how much money they spent on that, too.
So
Nash wouldn't be laughing if he knew how much money they spent on that pyro.
Lex Luger, and maybe the worst decision of his career, was growing a Hulk Hogan mustache.
Not a good look.
No.
Not even on Hogan.
He kept trying and then eradicating his facial hair. Like, I'm going to try something really fucked up this week.
Yeah.
I'm going to grow a Fu Manchu. That'll fit with the Lex Luger character.
Sure.
So Lex and Stevie wrestle for 2 minutes, and it's just awful. And here comes drunk Scott Hall again. The match just stops. Everyone looks at him, and he gets in the ring. And
Well, first he goes to the announcers, and he says, listen, there's no alcohol policy here in WCW.
Obviously.
Oh, that's
I'm
right,
like,
yeah.
That's cool, you idiots. Maybe you should make one. He says, my back hurts. I've carried this lump Nash my entire career. I'm going to go show Nash how tough I am. Keep in mind the match has already started with Stevie Ray and Giant versus Nash and Luger. This fucking guy stumbles down to the ring all drunk, and they let him replace Stevie Ray in storyline.
I guess. He just got in the ring.
But they started working, and the ref's right there.
Well, no, he's not.
Stevie just got out.
No, he is not right there because Scott Hall grabbed him and threw him out of the ring.
Yeah, but then he got back in. Did he not? My imagination.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
All I know is Scott Hall, who's not a participant in the match, lays out the referee. Kevin Nash then asks for a tag. Hall throws a punch. Nash dodges, which is comedy in and of itself. And Hall falls down. This goes on a while, and Hall falls out of the ring. Lex chases Giant away with a chair. Hall's calling out Nash. Nash cuts a promo, says, we can fight. I won't fight for free. We'll fight at Halloween Havoc. Announcers are talking about how sad all of this is. In what universe was any of this entertaining for a second? Was it supposed to be funny?
I'm pretty sure in infinite universes there still wasn't one where this was any good.
I don't know if it was supposed to be funny or if I was supposed to just be curious to see if a drunk guy can fight or what. I don't understand any...
I think it was supposed to be Crash TV that you couldn't turn the channel because there was a drunk guy in the ring.
Well, it would have the opposite effect. I wanted to turn the channel very badly.
Well, everyone did. To build up a match with Nash and Hall.
At one point, Nash yelled at Hall, I've lost my best friend.
And Hall goes, I've lost everything I ever had. Like, what the fuck's happening here? Can you guys get off my damn TV?
So, announcers are talking about how sad this all is. And I'm about to hit close in the window. And I look down and there's 3 minutes of TV time left.
Yes, there is.
Are these guys just going to sit here and talk for 3 minutes? What's going on?
This last segment was so rushed. Hogan and Bischoff came out, and
Exactly.
Hogan only got in one pose.
It's that danger zone where I don't want to see another segment, but if you're going to do another segment, it better go more than 3 minutes.
Sure.
So Hogan and Bischoff come out. They demand Warrior. Warrior comes out on stage and says, Hogan says, I'll prove you're canary yellow. And then...
Hogan is such a cartoon.
Yeah.
He's using terms from the fucking 50s. Bugs Bunny. I'm going to prove you're yellow, brother.
So, as Hogan's ranting, Disciple comes out like right behind Warrior, so Hogan can't see him from where he is.
No, I think Hogan was supposed to see him and think that Disciple had recovered and was about to jump Warrior from behind.
That's possible. That's possible. Regardless, Disciple comes out and stands right behind Warrior. Then he stands right beside him. And then he turns around to reveal the OWN logo on his jacket. What are you doing? You're going to get yours, Warrior.
Hogan said, and I quote, "What's up with that?" That's what he said.
He did. It's true. He did.
"What's up with that?" said Hulk Hogan.
So, for those of you keeping score at home, the storyline here is that Warrior, to pick a fight with Hulk Hogan, has found his partner, Disciple, and through humiliation and abuse, seduced him to stand at his side instead.
He's David Koresh.
That's one way to look at it.
Well, yeah, that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, whatever he had that caused that guy to pass out in the bathroom must have been some good shit.
But Disciple is now standing there of his own free will. So apparently he enjoys all this.
Well, we don't know if he's drugged right now. I mean, he's there.
And if he's drugged, does he like it?
We don't know his state of mind at the moment. But yeah, he's got a new disciple, ironically, in the Disciple.
That's right.
Look at that. Should close here by noting that this was the 1-year anniversary of the debut of the current WCW World Heavyweight Champion Goldberg. It was celebrated by him not even being on the show.
That's right.
Well, you can't win them all.
God. Why are you looking at me? I didn't book it.
You know, the death of WCW, everybody, is available right now at Amazon.com. And in fact, if you go to Amazon.com or Audible and do the Audible free trial, you get 2 free books. You can read Death of WCW for free. Did you know that?
I did.
Hardcover, softcover, Kindle versions. They're all available at Amazon.com, so head up there and check it out. If you buy the book, I promise I'll keep doing these shows. Otherwise, I can't promise anything, because I'm just so pissed off. That's the show, everybody. We're back on Thursday with NXT and Lucha Underground. You can still...
This leads us to Nitro. Also, September 28th, 1998, number 159.
Watched this yesterday. I don't have a lot of memories of it. I seem to recall it was a little bit better
Then what?
than usual.
Maybe. I just watched it right before coming over here. I just remember the main event being all kinds of stupid, which is hardly shocking.
Hey, at least Scott Hall's sober now.
Yay?
Dude, yay!
Actually, you're right. That was awful last week. Yeah, that is a yay. So 5 minutes went by before anything on the show happened. There's a Hogan Warrior video. There's a Nitro Girls dance number. There's the announcers flapping their gums. And finally the NWO comes out. And even that part takes forever until they finally start talking. Bischoff talks about all the fans who are booing him and just says, "Thank you for all your money."
That was a great heel line.
That made me laugh. So Hogan goes off. I don't know what got into Hogan this week. I know.
Well, you know, thank God there wasn't Twitter back then.
Thank God there was no...
Actually, I wish there had been Twitter back then, because then you wouldn't have to do it on the air.
So he buries WCW. It's a Southern hick thing that he turned into a big deal. He made it a success. Says the fans are stupid, the other wrestlers are stupid, and then things take a turn. Now, I know Hogan's had some awkward, what's the best way to put this? Awkward race relations, I guess, in the past couple of years. Here he talks about how he's been spending some time in the Hood.
The Hood, you say.
T-H-A-H-O-O-D, Hood. Talking to the brothers and sisters. And they all started calling him Wood.
Yes, Wood.
Short for Hollywood.
Yeah.
Say Wood. He didn't take out those crybabies like Sting and Bret Hart. Also, I don't know what activities he was involved in the Hood, but his voice was cracking like a 12-year-old. So he's calling out Sting, and Bret says, "If you want a piece of wood, come right down here."
That is what he said. If either of you want a piece of wood tonight, come find me.
Yeah. That's what he said.
That's what he said. If either of you want a piece of wood tonight, come find me.
Started calling himself Woody as well. And finally, it was just done. Wrestling is weird.
Oh, man. Wait till his promo on The Warrior later.
Have La Parka versus Super Calo. So, their idea for an opening spot is do a handstand, Calo. I'll run under you, and then when you are behind me, or as you're coming down, I will mule kick you in the nuts. So they tried this. They fucked it up. His foot came nowhere near Calo's nuts, and so Parker just turned around and kicked him right in the balls.
Because LaPark is a professional.
I guess so.
What's notable about this match is Super Calo did not manage to kill himself.
That's true.
Which is a huge improvement for that guy. There was a lot of nuttiness. There were some fuck-ups. There was a corkscrew moonsault that pretty much missed.
Wasn't that the finish too?
LaParka, yeah. He landed on the guy's legs.
And pinned him.
It
was funny. They came out, aside from that opening high spot, this is a U.S.-style pro wrestling match. Just happened to have two Mexican guys doing it.
And I got to say, this changes on Nitro as the hours wear on because people get tired and bored and pissed off. But unlike WWE today, and by the way, this was the first time in like 5 straight weeks that they opened with a good match.
That's true.
Yeah. And the fans were into it. It's two WCW jobbers going out there and just giving it their all. And the fans were into it. They popped for the finish. They cheered for everything. It's very different than today. If you open Raw with a match between two mid-card geeks, it'd be death. And to call these guys mid-card is giving them a lot of credit.
Yeah. No. I've made this rant many times, but WWE has trained their fans to like superstars, catchphrases, entrances, and finishers, and not like wrestling. Wrestling is no good now. So Parker wins, clean as a sheet. Hits an Alabama slam, goes up top, hits a ugly dive. Calo responds to this sporting victory, this clean win, by taking La Parker's own chair and beating him with it. And they frantically cut to Mercer like they were afraid something terrible was about to happen. So I don't know if he went into business for himself here or what. Mean Gene brings Bret Hart out for a promo. Bret says, Hogan, Sting and I heard you issue that challenge. Sting has agreed to step aside and let me finally get a crack at you. You've been ducking me for years. Tonight I finally get my shot. I know my legs hurt, but I'm going to fight through that to get my hands on you. And I promise to be a hero for the people. I'm going to be as great as Sting or Ric Flair.
This was legitimately a match 5 years in the making. From when they wanted Hogan to put over Bret, and Hogan refused to do it in 1993. And so he lost the title to Big Fat Yokozuna instead, because he was large. And there was a defective flashbulb on top of that. So this would have been their first ever singles match.
Absolutely.
For free on Nitro.
With no build.
Well, when you
see how it went down, I don't blame them for that part. But yes, they could have gotten people to buy a pay-per-view with that. And it was a very good babyface promo. Disciple versus Sick Boy.
So for those of you that may have forgotten, last week here on this show, the Warrior kidnapped Disciple. I mean, I don't know this, but we presume he gave him some really sweet drugs. Guy passed out on the bathroom floor. And then later in the show, he came out as the disciple of the Warrior.
Warrior appeared to have seduced him, yes.
Yes. So this week, Disciple came out for a wrestling match.
I think his first.
Well, no, he was the Butcher for a while.
That's true.
It had been years, I think.
As the Disciple, though.
Well, yeah, as a Disciple, I think this was his first match, but they put him in the ring with Sick Boy. Like, can you imagine that they put him in the ring with Sick Boy for this fucking match?
His first TV match in who knows how long.
It's fucking horrendous.
Yes.
Disciple is... I mean, think about this. The Disciple is having to pretend to be the ultimate warrior.
That's what happened. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. He would take a move, and he'd pop up on his skinny chicken legs, and he would beat his chest and scream.
It was so horrible.
Yeah.
He won with the worst stunner I've ever seen. You grab the guy and you sit on your ass. Is it that fucking hard? Apparently.
Apparently it is.
God damn, this was bad.
I also like how 10 minutes before this, Hogan was out there talking about how the Disciple was his most loyal soldier, the one guy who would never turn his back, and now Warrior had stolen him, left him for another man. So here, Disciple's just in the ring 10 minutes later. Hogan ignores it. He doesn't go out there to try to win him back. He doesn't go out there to attack him and get revenge. Moving on. They replayed an angle from Road Wild. I never saw this Road Wild, so I don't know if I ever saw this angle before, but it's awesome. So it's supposed to be Rick Steiner versus Scott Steiner. And they're outside, and they got the big stage set up in the blue sky, so it looks cool anyway. They wheel out Scott Steiner on a gurney. His arms all wrapped up, legs all wrapped up, neck brace on, IVs everywhere, something over his mouth, oxygen mask, I guess. And Bagwell, who had just come back, so he's still in his neck brace. Bagwell wheels him out. So Bagwell does all the talking and says, you can clearly see this man is too injured to compete tonight. He cannot wrestle his brother. And JJ said, and they've had some wacky doctor's note, and JJ says, well, he's going to be there the next pay-per-view, right? And Buff says, oh yeah, he'll be the next pay-per-view, right? And he holds the mic down to Scott, who's still wearing an oxygen mask, so all you hear is, Buff says, see? He'll be there for the next pay-per-view. JJ says, well, he better be, because if he's not ready in 2 weeks, he is barred from wrestling for life.
That's right. He can't wrestle anywhere in the world ever again.
And Scott Steiner is so outraged that he sits straight up and screams, what? It was so goofy and stupid and cartoony, but it was awesome. I laughed my ass off. So Rick Steiner chased them away. That was at Road Wild, and this led to the Steiner versus Steiner match at Fall Brawl, where they had an elaborate trap where Buff Bagwell would fake a neck injury, which, he'd just come back from the terrible neck injury. And it was all a setup, so they'd take him backstage, load him into an ambulance, Rick would turn his back, and they would pop out of the ambulance and get him. Which in hindsight was foreshadowing here on Nitro. I don't often give Nitro a lot of credit for artistic merit, but this is a perfect example of foreshadowing. We had Scott Steiner in a handicap match against Lenny Lane and Nick Dinsmore.
Yeah, the foreshadowing of Rick saying, make sure you call his mom.
Well, that too, but I was talking about the main event finish.
No, that was the one to me. Make sure you call his mom.
Yeah, that's coming.
Next week.
Oh, great.
They called her.
So we get the hospital and Mama Bagwell.
Can you imagine? How did Raw win?
I wonder which show turns out better.
Judy Bagwell, which, by the way, was also the name of Bagwell's wife.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Mom Innes. Why?
I don't know.
Just happened to be named Judy. What's your mother's name?
Lina.
Lina?
Mm-hmm. Linna.
How the fuck did I never know that?
You never asked?
Was it a misspelling on her birth certificate?
How dare you? No.
Well, I mean, Gladys, her name is spelled wrong on her birth certificate.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
So if Bridget's name were Lina, you would have just had nothing to do with her?
All I said was weird, man.
I'm just bringing it up. Love is weird, Vinny.
That was weird. The heart wants what the heart wants.
The heart wants what the heart wants. It's what's in a name?
What's in a name?
Aaron.
Can you explain that, or should we just move on?
That's Vinny's middle name, but that's what they used to call him in high school.
Yeah.
He was Aaron Verhey.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever call you Vinny until me?
A few times.
Did I start this?
No. A few times. I started when I was... Oh, that's a long story.
We got all night. Craig's not
There's
here.
no Craig. So, yeah. I was Aaron Verhey for my whole life. That's I guess it's what the plan was to call me, or if I just... Anyway, so I didn't like myself coming out of high school, started in college, didn't know anyone, had a chance to start over, and was tired of correcting professors every time they called roll. So when they said, is Vincent Verhey here? I just said, yes.
So you would actually correct them before and say, no, but Aaron's here.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I didn't even correct people when they spelled my name wrong. I was like, who gives a shit? You want to use an I? I don't care.
Anyway, Scott beat the fuck out of these mofos. He double underhook powerbombed Dinsmore onto Lenny, tapped them both out with a double Steiner recliner.
This move's got to go. It's got to go.
And why is that?
Well, because it's so fucking stupid looking, and Scott Steiner going in there and throwing everybody around is awesome. So you're in there, and there's this big, jacked up, crazy fucker throwing people around, and you're like, God damn, this match is awesome. Then he sits on them both at the same time.
That's about what happens, yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah. So as soon as the submission's done, he begins to sell his back and his knee, and the trainer comes out to look at him.
It's almost like he's avoiding his brother.
I guess so. Warrior comes out for a promo. He's rambling on about Christ knows what. A fan hits the ring. Security tackles him. Warrior claims this fan is upset by Hogan. He promises at Halloween Havoc he will be full-blown. And that's it. I literally got nothing out of his promo.
Is that what he said, full-blown?
I believe so.
Okay. I take it back then.
What were you going to say?
I could have sworn that he came out and said he was going to be all bone at Halloween Havoc.
That would be...
I thought for sure that's what he said.
I don't want to see all bone versus wood.
Well, I think that's what we're going to get. We're going to get wood versus all bone.
This match is even worse than I remember.
Oh, it's way worse. All bone. That's what he said, I'm positive. I even looked at the closed captioning.
Did you?
No. It's just a jumble of letters.
It just says Warrior rambles incoherently for 5 minutes. That's what's on the screen. Mean Gene calls Buff Bagwell out for a promo. Buff claims that Scott is in an ambulance and headed to the hospital. And when Gene questions this, Buff angrily says, "Are you calling me a liar?" There is mysterious cackling.
Ugh.
Buff says...
But it actually worked. That's the most amazing thing about it. Like, of all of this shit in WCW, Chucky was actually over. It's mind-blowing.
I guess.
I remember this. It was way more over than I expected. Of course, I had low expectations for a goddamn doll.
So Buff says if Scott's hurt, he's going to make Rick Steiner's holidays miserable. Psychosis versus the Cat. Cat does his spiel. "I must warn you, I'm required by law. I am a 3-time world karate champion. I could rip your heart out in 5 seconds. I am now giving
Bullshit.
I am now giving you a count of 5 to leave the ring." Psychosis, of course, speaks no English, so he just shrugs. So Cat turns around, sees him, and just kicks him in the face.
Listen, I'll put the Shad over a little bit. He was better than usual here, mostly because he actually did some professional wrestling again. I have no idea how a karate guy is better at doing something he's never done than something that he's done his entire life.
He really was a karate
But he
champion.
fucking pulled it off. Like, he was so bad at karate in his matches. But he was a decent professional wrestler, and he'd never done it.
Right. So Psychosis goes up top. He misses the Tijuana Jam. Shivani's going off about what this would do to the body. Hurt the spine, hurt your hamstrings, hurt the glutes. And Cat has a spin kick and wins. And Larry says something like, "I'm sure his glutes are sore."
Larry's so over all of this.
Yes.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, this match actually was a fun clash of styles. Mean Gene calls out Alex Wright, who cuts a promo in German, and then calls out the British Bulldog.
Yeah.
Why? What?
I don't know, but they had a match.
Later they did. I don't know why. Like, there's some matches that they build to. Like, you'd think Hogan and Hart would be one of them. Bulldog and Alex Wright, you don't need to build that. You can just put them in the ring and do a match. It's okay. Chavo Guerrero versus Disco Inferno. So Disco threatened to break the toy horse, but then put it back in the corner instead.
Dude, I told you that I was going to fast forward through every match involving this goddamn stick horse. But I actually liked the Disco Inferno, so I watched this match, and he proceeded to... What happened here? I could have sworn he destroyed
Well, first
it.
of all, he didn't
But
destroy
somehow
it.
Chavo got his, and so I was happy.
Well, first of all, Disco here was a total heel and Chavo was a babyface, randomly, because I think they were doing the opposite for the past several weeks. So, I'm still not sure how he pulled this off, but Disco somehow managed to stab Chavo in the throat with a hobby horse.
That's what he did. He used his horse against him and pinned him.
And the ref somehow did not see this.
It made me so happy.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a heel spot, but it was a babyface spot to me.
Juventud runs out and attacks Disco, but when he turns his back, Disco recovers and lays him out with a pile driver.
It's just so wacky. Juvi actually got booed for coming in and going after Disco.
Well, Disco...
The psychology here is so fucked up in
yes,
this match.
because Disco had been a babyface for weeks. I guess Chavo was a babyface. I'm not sure, but no one likes the horse. People like Dancing with Disco. That's like his music, at least. He wrestled a total heel of the match. He won in heel fashion. And then he got attacked. I don't know. 4 Horsemen hype video showed clips of the Horsemen throughout history, including the car door angle. I made the clip. So Mean Gene brings the Horsemen out for a promo. Before they can say hardly anything, Bischoff comes out. He says, Arn Anderson assaulted Stevie Ray on Thursday. Security, police, take the Horsemen out of the building. And so the Horsemen left.
And Doug Dillinger. Horsemen were cool for like a week. Well, it's not, I mean, they were still cool, but the problem is, you're in the middle of a damn wrestling war, and you can't let Ric Flair, like, cut a promo for a few minutes before you have the guys come out and arrest him. Like, it was good heat, but you can still get good heat, but actually give the television viewers something to make them want to keep watching your stupid show.
So Bischoff, as they're taken out, he buries Flair for skipping work to go watch his 10-year-old son wrestle. Called him a coward, and they went to break. Chris Jericho and his goofs were walking backstage.
Man, this was actually the first Nitro appearance of Ralphus, I believe. Because he debuted at Fall Brawl. And I don't think he was on, maybe he was on TV last week.
There's a clip of him, but it may have been from another show, but yes.
But one way or the other, so Ralphus comes out right here.
There's Ralphus, there's the Jerichoholic Ninja.
Yep.
And a third man who I had forgotten.
Well, the important thing here was, so Jericho, I guess he presumed Goldberg wasn't there. We actually don't know that part of the story. But he calls out Goldberg because the fake Goldberg's going to come out. But it said the real Goldberg comes out with the fake Goldberg on his shoulder. He throws the guy into the ring, and he proceeds to destroy the security guards. Now, I thought, how... he killed Ralphus. But then, I went back to watch carefully. That's why they had a third guy there.
Yes.
They got Ralphus the hell out of there because they didn't want Goldberg laying one hand on that guy.
No.
Because he was just a guy that worked there.
Yeah.
He was not in a position to be speared by Goldberg and jackhammered.
No, that would be awful.
But the place went absolutely batshit crazy for this. As you would expect.
It was a great segment because I didn't know what happened here. So when I thought it was going to be the Imitator again or something, or he wouldn't show up.
It was supposed to be.
Yeah. Goldberg comes out just carrying this guy much like you carry Paisley. Just easy. I'm
pretty sure that he carried this grown man easier than I carry Paisley.
Yeah. And for the even better, it's the first time we've seen Goldberg calm. Because usually he's snorting and hollering and growling.
Well, he was calm for a second till he had to spear and jackhammer these guys.
Yeah.
The one fucker didn't go for the jackhammer. And Goldberg's like, you're going up, dude.
Yeah.
And he fucking throws this guy in the air and jackhammers him. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Jericho ran for his life. It was a great segment. This is great. Mean Gene brings DDP out for a promo. So he brings DDP out. I'm sure Paige is thinking, all right, chance to get myself over and plug my World Championship match in this pay-per-view. And then before he can get going, Gene just goes off on a spiel about Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. I was thinking, what the fuck? Let him talk, dude. So he finishes. Paige pretty much ignores what he'd been talking about. Talks about Goldberg, puts him over for a while. Talks about the Horsemen, the Wolfpack, the Black and White. But he's the one guy who stands on his own. He's going to beat Goldberg on Sunday and prove he's for real. Or at the pay-per-view at Halloween Havoc and prove he's for real. Scott Hall versus Kidman.
This stupid match started, and as it continued on, I thought, is this another one of those stupid slip on a banana peel things?
That's what I thought too.
Because Scott Hall goes out there and he does those stupid things every now and then. He's working him over. He's beating him up. Kidman gets like a near fall with the power bomb. Hall, of course, tries the edge, but he turns into his gimmick. Anyway, the point of this is none of this got any heat. And then Hall hits the edge and pins him.
Right.
What in the absolute fuck was this?
Let's review. Kidman wins the Cruiserweight title in a great match, gets himself over in one night. Next week, he wrestles an exhausted Disco Inferno. He goes for a long time. He at least won, but he did not look great doing so. And he comes out here and just gets stomped.
He was just destroyed by a guy that last week was a drunk.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. because that's the other thing about this. Last week, Scott Hall was so drunk, he brought the entire show to a complete halt. So now, in storyline, WCW as a company is so stupid, they're just going to put him out there again the next week.
Yep. Just booked him in another match.
I also like here, Hall hit a choke slam at one point and then started to make fun of the Giant. And then Tony says, oh, he's making fun of the Giant. And then Hall stops and like, that's a shout out for you, G-Man or something. And Tony says he's paying tribute to the Giant. I think they both forgot that he and Giant are on the same team now.
Well, Giant was negotiating with WWE the same week. So,
I see.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
All I know is a drunk dude just destroyed the Cruiserweight champion. I'm sure these stupid fuckers were like, well, he got the rub working with Hall. Get real. This guy got killed. Came across like a total geek.
We got British Bulldog versus Alex Wright.
Bulldog, keep in mind, Bulldog has an infection that is spreading through his body as we speak watching this show. He's out there, all hurt, doing a stupid match with Alex Wright. He did cut a good promo beforehand where he said he had an 11-year-old son backstage and Alex couldn't lace his boots.
Fact.
Young Harry.
I saw Harry when he was not much older than 11. I can confirm. Alex could not lace his boots. He also, Bulldog did, told Alex, suck it in German. So, I don't know what happened, but it was pretty much only this match and maybe a little bit after, but I got just like a nuclear bomb of buffering. It would stop for a minute, play for 2 seconds, stop for a minute, play for 2 seconds. It made it almost unwatchable. And eventually, I was able to get it working again, and that made me sad, because it turns out the buffering was the best part.
So here's the finish. The referee takes a bump.
Stop right there. This bump was so terrible that Tony Schiavone had no choice but to call it a glancing blow. A glancing blow that knocked the referee down like he was glued to the mat.
He goes down. Bulldog hits the power slam. There's no ref. It took the Bulldog a full 8 seconds of covering the guy to realize that nobody was counting. So they bring out another referee, Charles Robinson. Alex goes for a back suplex, and both referees count the pin. Now, from the angle that we, the viewer, were watching this was the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life, because both refs count because everyone's shoulders are down, but both guys lift a shoulder up. So from our vantage point, 2 referees fucked up and counted 3 when it was a 2. Now, I guess the story was the referees were on each side of the guy.
Yes.
And so they saw one guy lift, but the other guy not lift. But the way they lifted their hands was to stick their fist straight up in the air. So, like, the idea that the referee couldn't see the guy lift his shoulder, it was just ridiculous.
All I could think of, this was all said and done, was, does this have to be this complicated?
Yeah. They had to do a draw.
Yeah, you're going to do a draw.
Two undercard dorks.
You can't just have them brawl to the back.
Nope.
Something, you must think of 87 steps, a Rube Goldberg finish here.
Yes.
This irritated me. And like I say, the best part of this match was the buffering. Kevin Nash versus Bryan Adams.
Are you absolutely kidding me? 380 wrestlers... and they give Kevin Nash Bryan Adams. It was fucking terrible.
Did we mention the small child who jumped Nash during his entrance?
Oh.
Crack WCW security team.
Well, they got rid of
Did they
Dillinger.
legitimately kick the security team out?
They must have.
Now, I will say this. I can't tell you how low my expectations for this match were. I thought this would have been like worst match I have seen since 1998. It was short, and they didn't... It could have been worse. I'll put it that way. Bryan Adams did...
I'm not sure how.
A drop kick. Nash went flying over the top rope. And then he just hit some big boots and went for the powerbomb, and Stevie Ray ran out and hit him in the head for the DQ. Using that slapjack.
A goddamn slapjack.
So they're beating Nash up when Hall comes out, still pretending to be drunk. But then he pours the drink out. He's sober. And he starts punching Nash. And Luger and Conan run down to make the save.
So I couldn't figure out if the storyline was supposed to be that he is sobered up or that he has never been drunk and it was a rib or a ruse or something all along.
If it was a ruse, actually, either way, why would you reveal this before the pay-per-view? Why wouldn't you try to lure Nash into a false sense of security and then surprise him during the match being sober and beat his ass?
Well, because I think they want to sell pay-per-views. They figure if they tell the fans that he's sober now, they might actually buy it expecting an actual match.
I guess. Okay. That leads to Hugh Morris and Barry Darsow. Barry Darsow is on Nitro every week in 1998. Smash from Demolition.
Dude, Crusher Khrushchev.
Yeah, that too.
Luger and Conan versus Humorous and Crusher Khrushchev.
Crash the Terminator. It's, oh my god, it's Crash and Smash. I just realized that.
Actually, it is.
It should have been a team.
You're right.
Hugh cut his hair and looks like a Funhouse mirror version of Bobby Roode. Like, creepy how much he looked like him. Conan and Smash turned out to not be a good styles clash, or a good mix as it turns out. And they wrestle for like 2 minutes, and Lex says, well, I'm done. And he grabs Darsow and puts him in a torture rack and wins.
This was after the worst X Factor in world history that Conan applied on Crusher Khrushchev. It was so bad.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay. And then the main event is Hulk Hogan versus Bret Hart for the very first time ever.
I gotta say, the first 5 minutes of this match where they exchanged technical wrestling holds, I know some of you listening to this, probably most of you don't believe this happened, but Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan put on a technical wrestling clinic. And Hogan was actually really good. Hogan did the
rolling armbar spot.
The rolling armbar.
He's got about 8 cool technical moves he can do.
He did his go behind into a takedown, rode the guy.
Hammerlock go behind leg spin thing.
That's right.
Yep, that's one.
I want to see more Hulk Hogan technical grappling matches.
Watch all his Japan stuff. It's like this. Is a Hogan Muda match. Where it's like 30 minutes of this.
When people say watch Hogan's Japan stuff, it's like one match they talk about over and over.
It's probably that one.
Maybe 2.
It's probably that one.
But no, I want more on Nitro.
I see. So, the other great thing about this was, it was a great story where Hogan knew that he's Hulk Hogan, he's the man with the pythons, and this guy is the excellence of execution. Hogan, to satisfy his own ego, wanted to prove he could beat Bret at his own game. It actually would have been a beautiful thing to just watch this unfold as a main event.
It would have been great if it would have just been a match.
Mm-hmm.
But the angle...
But they had other ideas.
So, to cut to the chase, Bret and Hogan are in cahoots. And they had a plan. Now, unfortunately, in order to make you believe, in order to fool you, the story was Hulk Hogan tried to break Bret Hart's leg.
Yeah.
We're supposed to believe, after the show was over, that they went into the ring and went, you know what? I'm going to try and break your goddamn leg. I'm going to drop it across the barricade twice. I'm going to wrap it around the pole. I'm going to whack it with shit. I'm going to try and break it so that your friends come out to try to save you.
Right, and then we'll get them.
This is so stupid.
It actually goes deeper than that. This bad leg goes back to War Games. So they had a multi-week plot, a conspiracy of beating Bret's leg for real in storyline.
Or in storyline, Bret really hurt his leg, and Hogan, in order to get this over, decided, I'm going to really break your leg. And Bret agreed to it.
I guess.
One way or the other, this was so dumb.
So they go through all this trouble. Weeks of planning, apparently. All this attack of Bret's leg, and it leads up to Sting running out. And they're just wrestling at this point. He throws Hogan off him. He cowers over Bret to make sure Bret's still alive. Lex and Conan are out there too. All the Wolfpack except Nash, who didn't care. And Bret says, no, let me fight. He's putting his hands together and begging, please let me in there to fight. And they say, no, you're too hurt. You're hurt too badly. Meanwhile, Hogan goads Sting into a fight. Sting had been challenged too. Sting says, sure, we can fight. The ref says, well, what the hell? You guys fight then. So they start doing their match as Lex and Conan are helping Bret to the back. Bret is put on the gurney. He is strapped down for his own good, of course, because he won't go back on his own free will. And they take him back to the ambulance. And the EMTs, I guess, are Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell in disguise. And they jump Lex and Conan, leave him laying. They unhook Bret, and make fun of his bad leg. And Bret, I thought he was limping and like fleeing away from them, but he begins to limp down to ringside, and he gets in the ring, and Sting's making his comeback just then. So he hooks the Scorpion, and Bret does like a fist pump. Yeah, you've got him. And Sting gets the move, and he turns it over, and Bret walks up and DDTs him, and the ref calls for the DQ. All this work. All the plotting, the planning, making sure all the chess pieces were lined up, and the damage to Bret's leg, just so he could do a DDT.
Not only that, this actually was a great angle, except for two major things. One, the fact that Hogan was attempting to cripple the man in order to set up their angle. Which, by the way, at the end of this, after he gave the DDT, he jumped up and wasn't selling his leg at all.
Right.
So I was imagining when you dropped this guy's leg across the barricade twice and wrapped around the post and tried to break it.
Well, it turns out in storyline, wrestling is fake.
Well, the other thing, as I mentioned last week, this all started with Bret Hart attacking Sting and beating Sting up while pretending to be Sting's friend. Somehow, Sting decided, Bret really is my friend. So this fucking Geek of the Century, he's way beyond Geek of the Week, he befriends Bret Hart. He falls for it hook, line, and sinker. And once again, at the end of the day, he is humiliated and beaten and turned on.
Did we ever mention how badly Sting was booked in WCW?
It's mind-blowing. He is such a fucking geek in WCW here. They've turned him into such a dork.
Here's the other thing about this. What ultimately did Sting lose here? A friend who he'd had for 2 weeks.
A friend he'd had for 2 weeks.
He won the match.
Wasn't even really his friend.
There was nothing at stake. He didn't lose a title shot. He didn't lose a championship. He just got DDT'd like happens to him every week anyway.
This poor guy. Such a geek.
So, Conan and Lex run out.
This is also notable.
And I think, okay, they will hit the ring. Hogan and Bret will run away. No.
No.
Conan and Lex, like when Hogan and Bret had their back turned, they drag Sting out of the ring and help him to the back and slink away.
Would you like me to tell you what happened here?
Please.
Very much like on the other show, where the referee screamed 45 seconds. Conan and Sting are supposed to come down, and then the Warrior is supposed to make a big triumphant entrance and run off the heels.
Aha.
Somewhere, somehow, he didn't get his cue. Or he missed his cue. Or he was putting on his makeup. Or he was just gallivanting around with the Disciple. But he fucking never showed up. And then they discovered we're legit out of time.
Yeah.
And they went off the air early.
You know, there's like the lights and the seats dim. And the show ends.
This is such a mess. The show is such a mess. This would have been a good angle if in the middle of the match they were doing technical wrestling and then Bret acted like he blew out his knee. And he grabbed it and he fell down and he wasn't legit faking it.
How many times have we seen someone like do a leapfrog and grab their knee?
Yeah, dude, they could have done that. This would have been an excellent angle. Instead, it was a good angle, but that was preposterous. The story of WCW. They got to be doing the mirror next week.
Well, Havoc is just in a few weeks.
We're running out of time.
Yeah.
It may be the Go Home show that they actually did that, if you can even believe that. That's the Go Home angle, that Warrior is magically in a mirror that only Hogan could see. And us. Except the storyline is, if you can see him, you're fucking crazy. Anyway. Yeah, this company sucks.
It really does.
I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but they went out of business a couple years later after losing tens of millions of dollars in a single calendar year, 60 to be exact. It's nuts.
Well, that's the show.
That's the show, everybody.
Hope Craig's back next week.
He'll be back next week. We'll be back on Thursday